you claim you're African, you're gonna get your mind back.
If a generalized black woman is doing this and being this, that is that is irresponsible.
No,
when you claim you're African, you're gonna get your mind back. Showing me,
black and proud. Claim you're African,
because
I
think that if
as
a person who has a page,
what is the status of people with half FBA?
When you claim you're African, you're gonna get your mind back.
That's why I was laughing, because I am
claim you're African.
I'm not saying the framework doesn't do a thing, but
become a part of it.
We've been
embrace it.
To black men
become a part of it.
Being in the control. We
become a part of it.
Only
embrace it.
That those to me one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Embrace it. When you claim you're African, you're gonna get your mind
that
back.
mental growth takes place. You've been misled by leadership, for instance, that thinking you can consume.
When you claim you're African, you're gonna get your mind back. Black and I'm proud. Claim you're African. Black and I'm proud. I'm telling you.
in Power Family. Dr. DAW back in the building. Conversations with Dr. DAW family come in the building. Let's have a conversation with Dr. DAW. I got the link already in the chat, So feel free to stop by, Feel free to stop by. Feel free to stop by. But what I want to do, again, is say feel free to stop by. But today's topic is another DAW down. No one's in the studio with me. So I need, if I can ask for audience participation, those that jump in, holler at me. But the title, FBA, a wound. Oh, no. Wrong topic. Let me say a wound. Look, let me go back to it, A wound we haven't named, but we named that wound. Go back and check that particular episode out. But again, the topic of discussion today is, can you be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African? Or is it the Achilles heel? I mean, I think y'all probably know what I'm going to say. Or maybe not. But nonetheless, the question is, can you be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African? That's the topic of today. The topic of tonight. Family, go ahead and like this video as you come in. Share this video. Let's get out there. Let's have a conversation. Join in. So join in on the conversation today, family. It's been quite a week. I've had quite a time actually just getting things together here today in the studio. I'm a one-man operation at this moment. You know what I mean? I don't have a guest or anyone working the board. I'm doing all the things, you know what I mean? But we're gonna have a DAW down today. And Ra, I don't know when people put the letters and things, hyphen SS2YZ says no. Brother JG11, I keep saying brother. I don't know if you corrected me or affirmed or confirmed whether you're a brother or not, but what you say, JG11? What you say? Family, let me know as you come in how I sound, what the sounds are sounding like, all that type of thing. I want to make sure I'm sounding good, not coming too strong, not coming through too weak, because the conversation is to be had. Again, family, as you come in, chime in, tune in, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. So JG11 says, I think so, yes. It doesn't surprise me, JG. It doesn't surprise me that you think yes. I would imagine that, hey, JG, you said that you've learned a lot from me. I don't know what it is that you learned. I would love to hear what it is that you learned to be answering in such a manner. I mean, look. Can you be FBA? I don't know. Ra says no. You says yes. You say yes. Ross says FBA is a fringe internet cult. You know, very interesting. I did a brief live the other day, and in that live, I spoke about the pseudoness, if I can say, about this framework that we have identified, or they identified as FBA. It's a very interesting framework. And I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about, someone said it's not fringe. You know, I don't know, is it, but you're saying it's not fringe? It said, hold up. Ross says FBA is a Tariq Nasheed fan club, not a lineage. Peace, Jadorian. Blessings. Family, thanks for coming in. Just thanks for tuning in. Make sure, again, you subscribe, you follow, all that type of thing. How do you say it? Like, you share, and you subscribe. But I was having a conversation about the other day. I was in my vehicle with the camera turned sideways, and and then I figured that it was turned sideways. I did a live off my phone. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't bad at all. It was the first time I think I've done that probably in years. The technology is much better. But one thing that I highlighted on that particular live off my phone is that FBA would say that there's pseudos inside of Pan-Africanism. I think there's a difference, though, when I look at pseudos inside of Pan-Africanism or African-centered thought versus an entire pseudo identity with an entire pseudo ideology, with more pseudo ideas that fall under the umbrella that which we know is FBA. I know I got ADOS in the title. I had to put ADOS in there, but I'm really talking about FBA today. I mean, look, I would tell you, don't close your eyes on ADOS. I'm gonna be honest with you. ADOS, everybody's saying they dead. ADOS, in some regard, I would say, probably has more durability, although they're not the popular cult of today. I would say that look, the pundits, the founders of ADOS, they're a lot more structured in their BS. I would say that FBA is a lot more manipulative. I mean, I'm telling you, that brother Tariq, whoo! I don't even know if I should say brother, but I show all my I show him love. I show him love. That's one of the ones that need some healing. And I'm not even sure if the healing. I'm not. Let me keep it clear. I don't think the healing would ever be. It wouldn't work. It's too far gone. It's too far gone. The healing would have to be like some. That would have to be a tragic trauma in his life to change that brother, because he benefits off of all types of chaos. JG11 says it's just a lineage all the same. JG, what are you talking about, man? I mean, look, one thing I do appreciate about you, JG, you come over here and you be playing both sides of the card. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that you could have learned anything from me and you still saying it's just a lineage. Hey, JG, you said you learned something. Maybe you learned that we don't need to attack our I don't know what you learned, JG, because it's pretty interesting, because I see you take the little shots in the chat. You ask for the wrench, all that type of thing. And, you say you learned some things, but I really don't see what you've learned. Oh, my God. The Solon people, they even more smooth with it. You know, now I looked them up a little bit. The ADOS, the Solon, and the FBA. Oh man, the Solon or whatever you call it, they finessing it. Yeah, they're even. I would say that they are even more convincing because with their, I haven't looked at much of it, but the few videos I saw, of the Solon tribe, just think about it. They got 20,000 labels. Like they already they talked about Pan-Africans can't get along. You know what I mean? Like, Pan-Africans can't get along. They got multiple ideologies and so on and so forth. They don't even agree. They can't even agree on a name. Solon, FBA, ADOS. And the reason why they're doing it because they realize there's some. I mean, and they're early on in their construction. You know, they realize that I would assume that Solon realizes that there's no longevity with Tariq Nasheed. I'm not saying that it won't stay around for a while, but as all Tariq Nasheed's ventures, it will come to, I won't say a complete end, but at some point it will become not as popular. Quite like the Melanoid Nation. Brother American Dream, what it is, man. I can't remember American Dream. You did a video, it was, I was coming home from teaching the class last night. And I was driving and I saw something pop up and you were talking about hip hop, man. You with the dude over there, Ron, man. You look, American Dream. You're a real good marketer. You do go around and you make your rounds and you do really well at allowing people to show their foolishness. Yeah. I mean, you're a very disciplined person. You know, I just want to let you know, even though I don't agree with you all the time, especially your conservative talking points, because I'm not, I'm not, look, I don't have that American dream mentality. I get it. I think that's where you go wrong, but nonetheless, I can say you a sharp brother. Nonetheless, that one video though, I still think you should take it down. I don't know where it went, but I think you should take it down. I'm going to get into this presentation today, this discussion. But again, the question is, can you be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African? That's the question. That is the question. You know what I mean? That is the question. Can you be, hold up, let me say it again. Can you be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African? And I want to, bring in one of the scholars that I truly admire. One of our ancestors that I truly admire. I would say that I'm a Wilsonian psychotherapist, psychosocial therapist. That's one of my frameworks. When I say Wilsonian, I'm talking about our dear Baba, elder ancestor, Dr. Amos Wilson. And I'm going to have him join me today. I'm going to bring in the spirit, what I call libation through video, of Dr. Amos Wilson. And I'm telling you, I couldn't get through the video. I'm sorry, y'all. I told y'all I was going to try to get through the video. I just can't listen to the foolishness for so long. I don't know. Is it just me? Or does the foolishness just like, I can't sit here and listen to this. This is just too much. I was listening to, and I'm talking about the brother, what's his name? What's the guy's name? Sincere, I'm trying to say his name right. Love the God. Sincere Love the God. Oh yeah. So I was over there and I saw and I heard my dear brother Ted, man. Look, Ted, come on, man. They was talking about nobody wants to sit down with them. There's no real people are trying to talk to them because they know that we will be obliterated by them. And I'm like, boy, the sadness is that I have is they believe what they're saying. I mean, that is the interesting aspect of it. They truly believe what they're saying. So, I mean, like all family members, you can empathize. And I truly do. I mean, I saw my man Tad up there, bro. It was funny. My man Tad got his glasses on. They got the other brother on there. I think his name was Divine or something like that. Then they talking about Umar, and they talking about, and then you got Sincere to love the God on there saying, well, man, look, check this out. You got Sincere on there talking about Umar wouldn't want to sit down with somebody real and all this type of thing. And again, y'all know I have major critique of Umar Johnson. I have major critique. But one thing I will tell you is that Umar will eat their no. He will eat them for breakfast, lunch, dinner. It would only have been one setting. Like it would have been breakfast, but he would have taken their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, even if he was wrong. See, I don't even know why Sincere would even think that he has the ability, or like who in FBA? I mean, I'll tell you one person that I think I can't listen to him completely either. I don't listen to enough of them, but I'll tell you there's one person that I think that perhaps can be convincing. Who y'all think that is? And it ain't Tariq. Tariq is convincing to people who want to be misled. Okay? Tariq is convincing to people who still haven't healed from their trauma. Tariq is convincing to people who need a sky daddy. Tariq is convincing to people who need a pip daddy. Tariq is convincing to those who don't know themselves. He is convincing to those who don't want to change their lives. Tariq is convincing to, as this person said, to idiots like FBA. What's going on? There's some kind of emergency alarm going on. A tornado warning. Whoa. I hope it's not. Look, y'all let me know if it's Baltimore or it's close by. Let me know. Put it in the chat. I want to, let me know. A tornado warning. He's convincing. Ra, I typically don't say these words, but I'm gonna read it. I said it earlier, but I'm gonna read to make sure that we understand that Tariq is convincing to idiots like FBAs. That is what you said, Ra. Oh, and Ra said, I used to be a follower of Tariq Nasheed. I've never, and I appreciate you, Ra. Thanks for joining the chat. You know what I mean? Family, I want to let you know I already got the link. I think is at the top. If it's not in there, let me know. Where you can join in on this conversation. You know what I mean? Because again, I'm the type of person I like to have dialogue. I like to have conversation, but we're gonna have a DAW down today. Again, as you come in the building, make sure you like, share, subscribe. And if you're watching this video after it's done, the live is over and all that, and it's published, just go ahead and leave a comment, especially my red, black, and green, my Pan-Africanist, my black nationalist, internationalist, whatever you want to call yourself. Look, there's one brother keep calling me up. I can't remember his name, but he's upset because he wants to keep telling me that he wants to have a conversation and that Garvey wasn't a Pan-African. Look, that's not my fight. But I have sent it to a few people. If you're checking this out, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, look, nobody wants to talk to you right now. Now, maybe they're afraid. But look, the problem I had with him is that he wants to come in and call me like he wants to debate from the start. Let's have a conversation first, bro. I mean, you might be an expert on some things. You might have some info that people don't know. And look, and I'm wondering if it's even worth my while to bring on the channel. And the reason why is that I'm trying to figure out, is it the time to do it? I think timing is essential. But again, let's see what y'all said in the chat before we get into this conversation more, y'all. Before we get into the presentation. I'm trying to get my mouse to work. My mouse isn't working. It's not working. Okay, well, I'm gonna use this mouse. Oh, okay. I went out. I hope I'm back in. I hope that my mic is still working well. You all please let me know if my mic sounds fine. If my mic sounds nice, let me know as we get started. I'm gonna check the audio feature. All right, look like everything's still rocking and rolling on this end. All right, so let's see. American Dream, yeah, big up. I saw you on when the dear brother was trying to ask you questions about Biggie Smalls and all that. I mean, you do. You're brilliant in what you do, man. Even if I disagree with you, it's crazy because, man, my man Ron be over there, man. He be acting like he it's this boyish energy that he has. Like he be real serious. Like, I'm gonna push mute on you. If you ever want some comedy, go over to FBA News. If you want information, don't go over there. If you ever want, I didn't know what to call. Like Ron, he's funny, man. Go over there and check him out. FBA News, man. He's real funny, man. He has this boyish charisma or something. You know what I mean? But if you want to be depressed, go and check out Sincere Love to God. and this guest that you bring on, man. I'm sitting there, man. It's so crazy because I'm sitting there and I'm laughing, man. But I really am feeling for my brothers and sisters. But it's funny, but it's sad. I mean, they sit up there like, look, you know, my grandmother, and auntie told me they were Blackfoot, and like, I mean, like, yo, what happened? Like, where did it go? Where did the Pan-Africanists go wrong? Where did your ideas go wrong, man? Where did it go wrong? But anyway, let me go ahead and get started. Let's see. FBA Ron sounds like a Muppet and a pseudo babbling idiot. Well, I thought that's an FBA word. I mean, I'm reading them. I thought that was an FBA term. But no, let's just go ahead and get started. I see y'all ready. Seems like you all are ready. So I have a presentation today, family. So FBA as an ideological project. So I want to get into whether or not FBA, if you can be FBA and Pan-African. I want to have that discussion. I truly want to have that discussion. You know what I mean? I want to have that discussion. So let's have that discussion. So my central thesis, FBA is a socially constructed identity category. FBA is a socially constructed identity category. It is framed around lineage, but it functioned as much more than a neutral ancestry label. JG11 says that it's just an identity label. Look, I don't understand what's going on, brother JG. Where are you getting this from? You're not getting the lessons that I'm putting down, JG. You're over here and you're not learning, huh? Is that what's happening? You're over here, but you're not learning? Oh man, this is getting old. But it functions as much more than a neutral ancestry label. People can choose to affiliate with it or not. That is their right. You know, And the thing is, I have that there, but people, I really think when people say things like, that is my right, I mean, you can do that. I don't even know, like, okay, I don't even like, I have it here, but what does that mean? That's your right. I mean, you have a right to identify how you please. Okay. I always ask the question though. You can. And I hear us in our Pan-African and African-centered or confused people that are part of these circles say that's their right. I mean, in some sense, it's their right to be set up. It's their right to be foolish. It's their right to be ignorant. It's their apolitical right. It's their right to continue. It's their right to undergird white supremacy. It's their right. But let's stop pretending it is only about lineage. It isn't. FBA is also an identity system with a developing ideological project, a cluster of beliefs. Let's say that, a cluster of beliefs, talking points, and boundary drawing practices that typically come with the label. You hear what I'm saying? You are you following me? It is, again, FBA is also an identity system with a developing ideological project, a cluster of beliefs, talking points, and boundary drawing practices that typically come with the label. That's me. That's me. I'm citing myself here. You understand? So again, I put here, this presentation examines FBA through an African-centered social science using Amos Wilson's, I'm going to say, framework, all that he's given us, to demonstrate that identity is never neutral, and it carries ideology. So the other day, it was said that I didn't mean what I meant. It was said that I did not mean that all identity is tied to ideology. No, I really mean that. I really mean that from an African-centered social constructivist type of framework, or a African-centered framework. We understand that everything from a Pan-African, African-centered framework, we understand there is no neutral identities. Even to be a boy is not a neutral identity. And it's created from an ideological, a social, cultural framework, a way of understanding. It's coming from a worldview. And we definitely struggle with understanding how culture and worldview shapes how we identify and label things. So everything, I'm going to say it one more time, every identity is tied to an ideology, and it's ideological. It's ideological in its inception, and then it can also carry ideological frameworks, ideas, understandings, whatever. There's no identity that is not created without some idea or worldview or set of ideas. That's why we talk about these things, such as things being a social construct. See, I think sometimes when we say social construct, we don't realize how much or how many of the things that we deal with on a daily basis are social constructs. The idea of race, we say it proudly, we say it all the time. Race is a social construct, but so is ethnicity. I'm sorry. So is your nationality. So is many things. Identity, boy, BOY is a social construct. Man is a social construct. Woman is a social construct. And what it means to be a woman and what it means to be a man is culturally specific. Okay? The link is in the chat, y'all, if y'all want to come in and talk. So we got to talk about these things. Look, I am saying that I'm not talking just to waste my time. What I'm saying is that identity is ideological. Identities necessitate, or ideologies necessitate identities. Baba is a ideological or a social construct. Okay, I want to let you know that there's lots. There's so many. Social construct doesn't mean that the thing isn't real. It just means that it's not a tangible thing. Well, people say, well, race isn't real, but I like to say, well, race is not real when you look at it as far as something tangible that you can touch, or race isn't real when you look at how they created and the attributes that they assigned to them. Yes, no, it's not. But social, politically, it is real because it has consequences. It's a social construct, yes. But I am saying that is a social political term. And if you think that you can you can do what you want to do, again. But the reality is anyone who is politically astute would realize that you have to be careful in identities that you choose. See, the thing is, I was talking to Bobby one time. I said that we need some political training because we don't understand the significance of things. So that's why we would say things like, you can be how you want to be. You can, okay, I get it, but you don't even understand the power. It is never a neutral thing. That is why we have people fighting today about these ideas, about even what gender is. And gender itself is a social political construct. If you don't know it, that's why you got people saying they, them, him, her. Because they're saying, no, we're going to broaden this and we're going to fight for it. See, they, them used to mean something else, but they, them is a new identity construct and how people want to be identified as it relates to gender. And they are fighting for it. The same way people with FBA are fighting to be recognized as FBA. If there was no social need for it, no one would have brought it up. And I'm not saying I agree with the need or what people think the necessity is. But what I'm saying, they feel that there's a need for this label. The very fact to say that we are delineating is a social, political choice. That in and itself lets you know it's coming from some ideological frame, even if it's not well spelled out. It's coming from a set of ideas. They said that we need it for this, we need it for that. And then I'm seeing after I put out videos, they're starting to change up a lot. And what I mean is they're changing up and now saying that, oh, well, we never said that we needed the word, FBA, that we were going to use that for reparations and that was going to be our label. Y'all be switching up big time, man. Because you realize how, now some are saying you need the term for reparations, but now after we've been beating the brakes off of them, they are beginning to change and read. I mean, and this is cool. I mean, maybe they'll get to the point one day where they it makes some sense. But this is a political endeavor. Never confuse it for anything else. And that is why I spend my time doing this, because I understand that this is not a neutral identity. None of them are. People are fighting for it. They're fighting to be identified as FBA, and they're fighting anyone who doesn't want to claim that or affirm that they are that. They might call you a tether or anchor baby or whatever. I don't know. They look, again, they will say that I'm a tether when my ancestry, I have my genealogical records. You know what I mean? I do. But both sides of my family come from this land. I'm not saying that. I'm saying after our origins started on the motherland. And to be African, and when people say, and they say things, well, you're not really African. Look, let me tell you something. You just African American, like even that conversation. Look, people can identify when people say they're African. I want to say fool, but I'm gonna chill out. When people are saying that they're African and you saying, well, no, look at your passport. That's an apolitical response. A political response will say, why do you think utilizing the word African is more sufficient? Because every identity, and when people say I am this or that, they are choosing it, whether they know it or not. It is a political move. Someone said, call them federal black agents. Someone else said the other day, it was like false beliefs. Something like, it was like false beliefs, something else. But family, as you come in the building, like, share, subscribe. Look, identity is not, it's not that simple. It's not a simple thing. And we talk about these things, and I'm saying it is complex. Like when we just can't treat it in these, okay, I mean, you can do what you want to do, but what you do and what you say lets people know how much you don't understand. I am saying, and I challenge I challenge Baba, Kaba, Khamenei, and any other people who haven't said anything, who sit on hidden colors, who have not said anything about this mess that's going on, who have not critiqued FBA, who have not critiqued the things that Tariq Nasheed is doing. I'm saying, I'm questioning you. Because you know, I would think that I know you know better. Man, the assumptions I start to gather, which can be incorrect, is people do what they say, they'll do a little something strange for some change. All that middle walking stuff, come on, man. We're gonna have to stop it. You can't be an elder and you don't stand up against the bull. Because to be an elder is an identity and is a social construct that has some things to describe it. Again, an elder is not just a neutral label. An elder has some requirements. An elder is a social, political position. Cultural, social, political position. So when I see elders who call themselves elders and you're not saying anything, I'm not saying the bobo, I'm not saying being neutral. Look, I'm saying no. We passed the point of neutral when we know we got a tyrant. I mean, hold up, a fraudulent person in our midst. And look, and if you talk about, you ain't got to say nothing about the dude. but don't big them up. Look, that makes it even more crazy to me because like, oh, well, I think that he's an honorable. No. If you don't want to come out publicly, don't look. Just you stay neutral on that. That's what I will suggest. Anybody who's over there, stay neutral on that. Because when you say something just to seem like it sounds cool, or you just want to stay, look, you ain't got to say nothing positive about that person when you know that they're corrupt. We know that when you know they've been hurting our community. I mean, I talked to the elders for years, and most of them have said to me, again, that he full of shit. But there's something that people would do. They would do a little something strange for some change. And then we'll say, well, I understand why. But the reality is, if your elders would do it, how can we hold those who come behind them accountable? So again, an elder is not a neutral label, just like FBA is not a neutral label. Let's rock. Let's listen to our dear Baba. Put some ones in the chat, family. When I play this video, if you can hear it.
In our disunity as a people and ultimately destroy us as a people. So identity is a cultural product. It is the incarnation of a cultural ideology, ecology, and of cultural practice. Identity is culture made flesh. Identity is an instrument for the expression of cultural power. Yes. When an individual identifies with a culture, and remember we said culture is ultimately contained what? In us. Then the individual becomes the what? Instrument of that culture. You say, this is what I tried to tell you some lectures ago when I talked about manhood, right? When I told you that manhood is a social definition, and to be a man is to be socially defined, so that in expressing what it means to be a man, in defending one's manhood, one also does what? Expresses one's culture and defends what? The culture. And in defending the honor of one's manhood, one defends what? The honor of the culture and the honor of the people. And therefore, ultimately, manhood is an expression of the culture, not of a chauvinistic wish on the part of a male. It is not to be defined in isolation and detached from the needs of the culture itself. That when manhood becomes defined, detached from the needs of the culture itself, detached from the needs of people itself, when boys are not trained into men relative to the culture, then these boys will prey upon the culture and destroy the culture. And this is a part of what we have in so-called black-on-black violence. Boys who've been brought into manhood in ways that are detached from African culture and African people, you see, who have not engaged in training in an organic relationship to their Africanness. And therefore, since they are not socially defined, they then become antisocial in their behavior. So ultimately, you see, an identity and a personality is a cultural instrument, and it is through this identity and through this personality that the culture expresses itself, and the culture is perpetuated, and the culture has an impact on the world, and the culture expresses itself as power and defends itself as a culture. But if it defends itself as a culture, it defends its members as people as well. You see? But when people are detached from a culture, they stand alone. And they are undefended. They become vulnerable. And others now destroy them one by one, here and there. And ultimately, a whole of a people are wiped out. Thus, identity, self-concept, are products and instrumentalities as much, if not more, political, economic entities than social, psychological entities. What am I saying here again? We're used to seeing identity as a psychological concept. You see, we talk about my identity as if it belongs to what? Me only. You see, my personality, my this. No. Ultimately, we must recognize that our personalities and our identities are, to a good extent, instrumentalities for our culture. But the thing that we want to recognize more so than this is that identity, self-concept, what we call the self and personality, are as much political and economic entities as they are social and psychological entities. In other words, identity, even in a diffused state, is a political economy, an organization of interests, tastes, desires, passions, ideals, motives, values, etc. The pursuit.
So, family, our dear Baba, Amos Wilson, spoke about how complex identity is. He even goes to close off saying that it actually impacts your passions and desires and all these other things. And it's 100% that the way that you identify, it impacts the way that you think, feel, and behave. To pick up such an identity, the identity is full of ideas. And I mean, maybe you might say, well, I just thought the label was just neutral. But I want to let you know that it's clear that the label FBA and ADOS is not neutral, although they will tell you that, because you will see a pattern of behaviors, a pattern of thinking, ways of feeling and acting out that is common. Does that mean that everybody in it does it? No, but it means that it is typical for people to act this way who fall under a certain identity construct. Now, you might say that I can be an alcoholic and still be safe. You may have not gotten into an accident. You may be an alcoholic and you have no problem. You might live till you're 100. People always say, well, my grandmother smoked and she lived till she was 90. That was your grandmother. But what does that say about everybody else who's impacted by the toxicity of it? And that is the same thing I'm arguing happens when we speak about identity. Now, you might not, you as an individual might not be impacted in that way. But know that identity carries power. I think Dr. Amos Wilson said that in this particular clip here. If not, it'll be in another clip, or maybe it's in multiple clips. But the idea, identity carries power, so we have to be careful. We have to be intentional in the identities that we choose and the identities that we promote. The identities that we promote, they can continue to say all they want to say about this thing being a neutral identity. I will argue, again, I maintain that FBA is a identity that is tied to an ideology. And it's clear. You want to close your eyes. All you have to do is go over to the realfba.com or whatever the thing is. This is the most popular iteration of FBAism, the Tariq Nasheedian strand. You know, you got the Callaway and, you know, the Britannian group. Then they kind of mix up, you know, as I hear my brother, well, you know, I'm Blackfoot and, you know, all that type of thing. You know what I mean? You know, we Blackfoot, you know, all that type of thing, you know, which, okay, you know, do you like DNA doesn't matter. You're more Blackfoot. Like, just go and do your DNA and you'll see the percentage. And I'm not saying that there's nothing there. I mean, like I told you, I had some percentage in my own, and it's been taught to me, you know, all that. But I have no problem with you identifying with your native heritage if you have it. But the reality is, why do we run away from our African heritage? This been going on forever. Let's see what my dear cousin, Dr. Professor Shabazz, also known as the Proper Perspective, says. He said, Dr. Dennis Assar Winkler, right? You can think the labor is neutral, but the activity shows the truth. Absolutely. And just because you are a good heroin addict that goes to work every day doesn't mean that you don't want to go promote heroin to most people, because they won't be able to do that. We have to be careful in how we choose our identities. Family, come. Hey, cuz, if you in there, and you want to come in, you know, it's cool. You know, I mean, anybody who wants to come in, I think the link is still there. Let me know if the link is still there. It should be at the top. If anybody wants to come in and join in with this conversation. But let's continue. So we're going to move on. We went from Dr. Amos Wilson speaking to the theoretical framework and identity formation. And we're going to go to another clip where Dr. Amos Wilson speaks about identity being a political instrument. A political instrument. And identity is culture made flesh, he says. Again, identity, he said, is culture made flesh. You see what I'm saying? We have to look at this thing in a very complex way. I know we mean well. We think that the things that we say and the things we choose to identify with are harmless at times. But your identity is a social, see, you know it. You say it's a social construct, but then you don't even realize what that means. It's a social construct. Add the word socio-political construct. The fact that even if you left social, it's enough to say that there's some reason why it came about. Identity. And this goes back to, can you be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African? No, you can't be. And the reason why I'm saying, I'm going to continue to show you this as we go out. I'm outlining this because the identity has an anti-Pan-Africanist framework, ideology. It is consistent. The anti-Pan-African element of the ideology is more pervasive than the anti-African and anti-Caribbean. Because the problem is they really don't seem to have, they do have problems with the Africans, but they really have more of a problem. They have more of a problem with the idea of us coming together or doing things collectively. So they, even if they let a person who's African from the continent or Caribbean from the continent, if they agree with them, then what happens is there's no threat that we come together. But when you don't agree with them and you are also a Pan-Africanist, then they're not going to agree with you. They're going to say you're a tether, you're a huckster, you're not being real. There's a threat there. There's a threat in us coming together. They're okay with you if you're talking. I mean, and guess what? The whole delineation piece is false as well, because African American already covers that. There's no need for FBA. The term FBA, I got multiple videos on how foolish it is and how fraudulent it is. Everything that they say why we need it, we go and debunk it. We've debunked it. Me and Proper Perspective. Proper Perspective just did a video the other day on how even they say they're not African, but then one of the stars, or they say they're not, a lot of them don't want to say they're African, or they have African descendant or what have you. But the first one of the stars is saying they come from the African explorers or what have you. Like, bro, I mean, I get it. This was the best Tariq Nasheed could do in a quick way. He did a pretty good job by just throwing this thing together on the website. But you can't say that there's no, I mean, even if he didn't put the stupidity on the website, the foolishness, the anti-Pan-Africanness statements on the website, it would still be clear that they're operating from some ideology, which some of us call Black MAGA, MAGA and Black. They have these purity tests. Who can be, they have who can't be, and then we act like we can overlook it. And then we act like Tariq Nasheed is a saint. Oh, well, I don't care who made it. Well, Tariq Nasheed made it. I don't care about what it says on that website. Well, he coined the term. He put the stuff on the website, and now we're acting like that doesn't matter. Come on, man. Let's be real. I mean, I understand. It is either coming from a place of disingenuousness or hurt or confusion. I'm hoping that you're confused so we can wake up. I'm hoping it's confusion. I mean, and if it's from hurt, I'm here to help heal. But disingenuousness, I can't help. So, all right, look like y'all. Let's get to it. Dr. Amos Wilson, identity as a political instrument.
That a culture is to a significant extent a historical product. Let's talk a second about identity. Identity is the social and personal outcome of our product of an identification process. According to Bandura, this identification process is a process in which new responses are acquired and existing repertoires of behaviors are modified to some extent as a result of subjection to direct or indirect conditioning procedures. All cultures condition the people that belong to them. All cultures ultimately must have some means of rewarding and punishing behavior. And that's another thing we don't want to face, We want to.
Oh man, I thought I had that on the screen, but I think y'all could hear it. Could y'all hear it? So that was Dr. Amos Wilson. Y'all let me know if y'all heard that. So, I mean, it's just a basic video that speaks to how culture's made flesh. I don't know, but since you put your 2 cents in, I don't know if y'all having your own debates out there in the world. I'm going to play it one more time because I didn't get a response per se.
That a culture is to a significant extent a historical product. Let's talk a second about identity. Identity is the social and personal outcome of our product of an identification process. According to Bandura, this identification process is a process in which new responses are acquired and existing repertoires of behaviors are modified to some extent as a result of subjection to direct or indirect conditioning procedures. All cultures condition the people that belong to them. All cultures ultimately must have some means of rewarding and punishing behavior. And that's another thing we don't want to face, We want to.
That's something we don't want to face. Let's keep moving with Dr. Amos. I'm gonna come back on the conversation. Family, make sure you join me in the. I'm just gonna let Dr. Amos rock out of the essentialness of identity. And I just want to highlight that when we look at these things, I think we should be mindful when we talk about these things, because they're complex. It's kind of like, I think we should leave certain things to people who study this stuff, who are, it's already complex enough and confusing for people who really study identity. Sometimes we bring in ideas that are more rigid when we don't understand social constructs. JG11 says, Dr. Winkler, what's your opinion on immigration, brother? What is, I don't understand what you mean by that, JG11. So let's go. Identity as prescription, Dr. Amos Wilson.
Define yourself by a word or a label. It is not a mere designation of ethnic characteristics, nor just a designation of people who may look alike to some degree, or share a similar area, or share a particular area. Ultimately, an ethnic identity is a prescription for behaving, for relating to each other in a particular way, for seeing yourself and seeing each other and seeing the world and relating to God and relating to nature and relating to everything else in the world, so that it operates in the interest of the group. Must understand that. In the racial designation or identity is a prescription for action, is a prescription for relating.
And so listen to Dr. Wilson, you know what I mean? He said there's a prescription for relating. You know what I mean? And I hear people saying, well, they call it, the same people from FBA calling Dr. Amos Wilson their teacher. But somehow they think that they're more that listening to him, one, and two, or they think that they somehow got this thing down and they understand it to a greater degree. You know, and I argued that no, it's not. They definitely don't have it down to a greater degree. You know, Dr. Amos Wilson is speaking to how its identity is prescriptive. And if you don't understand how it's prescriptive, I get it. But I'm showing you this video to let you know that's not just me saying these things. Our elders have already said these things, and these things are supported in all types of research. This is what social constructivists and these are the frameworks we're using. We're okay with this idea of race being a social construct, but the idea of FBA is a social construct, which is a subcategory within the African-American population. It is not the 41, 42 million that they're trying to hijack. It's not those historical figures that they're trying to hijack. Those historical figures will have to have a choice about whether or not they want to identify as such. And so that goes back to my first slide. Now, people who understand the social political, let's say, the social political outcomes as it relates to identity will realize we have to choose wisely. We have to choose. We have to understand. We just can't say, well, again, you can choose. Like, I choose to be this way, but understand that every identity that you choose has social political consequences. It does. I think we have someone in. I think John Kane. Let's see how that. John Kane. Let's see. Hold on a second, John. I'm gonna bring you up. I'm not sure if I ever talked to you before, but just be respectful. And blessings, peace, and power, brother. John, where you calling from?
I'm calling from Florida right now, brother. How you doing today?
I'm good. What's going on with you?
Basically, I don't think the problem is with identifying as African. What it is like with me, Like when I go back to my lineage leads back to a lot of like Arawak, Indian. They like, you know, this is on my great grandfather's birth certificate. You know what I mean? So it doesn't say black. His birth certificate. Huh?
Say it again. You said it doesn't say black?
No, it doesn't say black. It says Arawak, and it says maroon. So he's Arawak through the Maroon tribe.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So how do you identify?
I know all roads lead back to Africa. It's not that. It's just the fact that
how do you identify?
Oh, I'm American. I mean, but my parents are Jamaican, so I guess you could say Jamaican American.
So you just American? Oh, Jamaican American.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're saying all roads leads back to Africa.
Yeah, I understand that. All roads lead back to Africa because that's the motherland. That's where everything started. You know, that's where all life started, where our life started. I don't know about, you know, the Caucasians, you know, even though they say they started with us. But if you believe you come from monkeys, then I don't believe that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what you trying to drop on me today? Because I don't.
No. It's not. It's not that. I don't think they like people are not identifying with Africa. I think they just not being sold the fact that they're slaves. You know, they're you know that they're descendants of slaves.
Who are you talking about, though? I think maybe you're having the wrong conversation. maybe I'm misunderstanding you.
Oh, no. I was understanding what you're saying. I'm just saying, you say, why do people have a problem with being African? It's like, I don't think they have a problem with being African because I think they know that all roads lead back to Africa. It's just the timing, and they just don't want to be like...
Oh, I'm sorry,
like
brother.
You're being fooled or lied to, you know what I mean? That's what I mean.
They don't want to. Okay, so let's think about that. Let's think about that as I go. I appreciate you joining in.
Yeah, no
they
problem, brother.
Calling you a tether, so you know.
I know, it's all good. Love is love, man.
So nonetheless, you know, I mean, you haven't come up here and have been disrespectful to me. You haven't said that you want to take black people's American black people's goods. You haven't said that you want you haven't been hostile, which are all the definitions that they say. This is how we call one a tether. This is what we define a tether. But you haven't been any of those things, but they're still calling you a tether just due to the fact that you said that your ancestry come through Jamaica.
Yeah, that's fine.
They could have dealt with it. I just want to make a point, though, that you haven't done any of those things as of yet. But I guess the fact, though, is that the same. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but when we look at ADOS, right? If that was their issue, they would not be saying African descendant of slavery.
That's correct.
And then foundational Black Americans, I think black is more indicative of slavery in some sense than African. And why do I say that? Because the construct was put together. Well, you know, there's argument, but for the most part, we hear that the word black and white was created here in the United States as an American experience. And then I know they can go to Africa and they debate that word, but what I'm saying, I don't think it makes them any less or more connected to slavery.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I mean, I appreciate it. You know, I think you're giving them a lot of grace, and they should pull all the tether words back because you're at least trying to help them reason. But I don't think that's the reason.
I was born in this country, so everything I know is mostly American. You know what I mean? So it's like I understand where they come from, the tethering, but you know, slavery didn't just happen here in the United States of America. That's the craziest part. But it's the fact of the matter is like. I understand, you know, black people in this country have created a lot, and that's cool. You know, you got to give respect where respect is due. But what was created before you, that's the only problem. You know what I'm saying? It's like no one really like dives deep into their ancestry. They're just taking everything off of, you know, words. And it's like, do you guys really do the research? Like, where do you guys really come from? I just don't think a lot of people do the research. They're just trying to fight for something. Fight for identity, and it's cool, but you know, at least do the research. Come with some paperwork.
Well,
you know,
the problem is, I think that people don't know how to do research.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that they believe they've done research. And I mean, quite like, I mean, I would love to hear more. I mean, I'm not going to get into your coming from the Arawak background, but and then even the route that you would argue that was taken, because I mean, there's various routes. Some would say that, you know, they're not talking about Africans were the first people to populate the globe. They're now saying the Africans were the Arawaks, or the black people were the Arawaks. So I'm not sure which route you're taking here, nor do I want to get derailed with that conversation. So I just know that there's different approaches to that and understanding to that. And even, you know, and a lot of it is still kind of false either way. I mean, at least there's not enough evidence to substantiate it. I'm not saying you don't have Arawak in your, I'm not even going there. But what I'm saying is a lot of people would say that they're native, but they again still don't pick up and claim they're Africanists. You can claim that you're a Native American. I'm not talking about you, but those who do this, but they will do everything to not be connected to Africa. Or, I mean, you start hearing the craziness come out. Well, the first thing you'll start hearing that they'll be talking in circles. The next thing you know, you hear about, well, they don't have no slave ships. They don't have evidence of slave ships. And you're like, okay, here you go. This is when you know things are going to turn up. but I thank you for calling in, dear brother. Anything before you go?
Yeah, there was one last thing, man. And for a lot of people who think that like Jamaicans don't like Americans and stuff, like that's completely false. Like the term Yankee is made for anybody who has like basically American views. You know what I mean? And that's cool because I'm considered a Yankee. Even my parents call me Yankee. So it's just like all this like false narratives. It's like it's ridiculous. It's just Yankee does not mean black, white. It just means American. That's it. Just means you have American views. You feel like you're free. You know what I mean? And basically when you feel that way and you come to their island, they're more reserved. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the only thing that separates us. It's just our views on things. That's it.
Yeah. You know, I appreciate that because when I first met my wife, she was calling me like Yankee, you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, I've never even taken offense to it, right? Like,
yeah,
I've never taken offense to it. And I mean, I think that honestly, I would just even throw the Akata word out there. Like, who cares? Yeah. Like, who cares if someone think you're a wildcat? Like, who cares? Like, who really cares? I mean, I heard a brother earlier saying something, what's his name? Afro Think Tank saying something around, he's been in Nigeria, I think, for 7 to 9 years, and he says he's never heard the word Akata. He's been asking people about the origin of Akata and has not been very clear. And in fact, he said it's like a made-up word. I don't know. I haven't done enough research to substantiate it or what have you, what he's saying. But nonetheless, I'll look into that more. But again, let's say it does mean wildcat. I can imagine why someone would think that those who strayed away, who've been taken away, I can see it. Now, I don't know enough about this whole idea of Akata, but what I'm saying is I can reason with the thing, even if it means something bad. I don't give a goddamn. They can say what they want to say. We say all types of stuff. People are ignorant and everywhere. And I've also did, brother, one thing you might not know is I did a whole presentation on the Caribbean and African-centered descendants sentiments as it pertains to African Americans and Caribbean. Out of all three groups, the Caribbeans had the highest levels of solidarity with African Americans, pointed towards the direction of African Americans. And all the groups had high levels of solidarity or high sentiments, but the difference was that the Caribbeans were the highest in the direction of African Americans. Now, that's the but it's in fact there was no significant difference in the research as it pertained to how Caribbeans saw themselves and how close they felt to their own people and also the African American community. So I mean, I've done the a presentation on it already. I showed the data, I showed the research, and even if it didn't show that, it's it's still not, more people in all three groups. Let me just break it down simply. More people in all three groups literally have high levels of solidarity than those who don't. So I appreciate you for calling in, brother. Peace.
Yeah. All right, peace.
All right. We got Root Word. Now that's Root Word. What's going on?
What's up with you? FBA all day, baby.
What's going on?
Black America all day. And none of the foreigners allowed inside of our communities.
What happened?
I said FBA all day. And if you ain't FBA, you a foreigner or a tether. Like in every other country, they would call you an alien. So FBA are not aliens like the rest of these other people. Like Caribbeans and Islanders. Like if I got in a fight with an Islander, I can get them deported. If I got in a fight with an African, I can get them deported. So we're not the same. We can't get deported. Not aggressive.
Okay, what are you arguing here?
That is like it seemed like you brown nosing, like you trying to play both sides of the field because it's proven that's why I started like that. It's proven that we don't come from Africa. We're not slaves. Y'all cannot prove slavery because we can't get deported. So that means that we didn't come from nowhere and not aggressive.
Okay, so are you substantiating my premise?
I think you're playing both sides of the field. Slavery is fake. We're aboriginal to America.
Oh, say it again.
Slavery is fake. We're indigenous to America.
Oh, hold on.
There's never been a slave vote.
Let's do one thing.
There's never been nothing.
Let's do one thing at a time. Okay, my fault. Can we do one thing at a time?
It's your show, brother.
Okay. Are you stating that my premise is correct when I say you cannot be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African?
No, I'm saying that sounds crazy because FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African all come from the same group, and that's the socially construct group in America. Islanders and they all social construct. Islanders and Africans can't be FBA, ADOS, or African Americans. They're not aggressive.
Okay, so you saying you can be Pan-African and ADOS?
That is only a group that's found next to the black people. That group is not found in the islands. That group is not found in Africa. That is specifically to take the black people off their land mentally by saying, oh, well, they're this and they're that. Yes, all them names is us. We've been called all them names. It wasn't when they said ADOS, there wasn't no ADOS movement in the islands. There wasn't no ADOS movement or no African American movement in Africa. That's why I say all these tethers, they're tethers. They jump, they get on our balls and not aggressive.
Hold on, let me ask you: Are you a real person?
A real person?
Yeah, because I'm like you. Do you really believe the things you're saying?
You can't rebut nothing I'm saying. That's why you stuck on stupid. Here, I'm a real person. You heard what I said.
Hold on, hold up. You right here. Let me bring you up. Oh, you did come up, but you went back down. I was gonna bring you on the screen if you left your camera on. But okay, I won't respond because there's so much wrong.
Because you stuck on stupid. You trying to separate ADOS, African American, and FBA, and we're the same people. And I said you down with the tethers. I've been saying this shit in the chat, bro. I don't gotta argue with you. You stuck on stupid.
Do ADOS and FBA come from Africa?
No black person, FBA or African American, comes from Africa. We could only be found in North America.
So what strand of FBA do you follow?
FBA is only one strand. I told you stuck on stupid, bro. You ain't on our side.
I'm saying, do you follow like the Tariq Nasheed strand, or you more like the Dan Calloway?
Dan Calloway is not no FBA, man. I told you stuck on stupid. No disrespect. You borderline weird. You just said Dan Calloway and FBA in the same sentence. You weird, bro.
I appreciate it. I mean, I think that just I'm just
you weird, bro. You just said that Tariq Nasheed is the only person you can follow in that movement.
I'm just letting people listen to you because I don't have to make an argument.
You just said Dan Calloway.
I don't have to make an argument because your points speak loud on your beliefs. Like, I don't really even have to respond to it because it shows how deluded our people are. I mean, I appreciate you coming on to show the
Man, you can't even rebut me, bro.
I appreciate
You asked me a question.
I appreciate my dear brother for coming on and saying that. I mean, I just want to show you the people are saying that these labels don't come with consequences. I mean, I think he's more the extreme, just to be honest. So I don't think he's the best example of FBA is bad, but he's on the extreme end of it. And he really thinks that I'm going to waste my time trying to debunk fantasy and mythology. And I mean, the thing is, I get it, because when you believe it, when you believe such a thing in such a passionate and with such conviction, why would I do that? That's like kind of like trying to argue with a person about their religion. I'm not arguing with you about your religion. I might, if you want to sit there and talk about it. And then again, what I realize about people with FBA, they call you all types of names. and you haven't really, they like the things they say out of their mouths it's horrible. It's indicative. It's kind of like what Dr. Amos Wilson spoke about earlier. It's about it creates a certain what he says its identity is a prescription for action. That is what Dr. Amos was speaking about. And this is one of the variants of FBA. You know what I mean? This is one of the variants. So this is what I was saying earlier. When we look at FBA versus Pan-Africanism, you might find some pseudo identities or people inside of Pan-Africanism who have some pseudo ideas. You'll find that everywhere. But the difference is FBA is a pseudo movement. FBA is a pseudo identity. FBA has a pseudo ideology. And that's giving them grace. Again, I tell people, I see my dear cousins, hold on. So who's this? It says Hustle Life 2G. How is he getting cooked? The person is embarrassing himself. I thank you. I don't know what the Hustle said. The Hustle might be him. If you think there was some cooking going on. I mean, you don't have to convince people out of their delusions. It doesn't work. And that's a real thing. Like when people when you work with somebody who suffers from schizophrenia, you'll waste your time trying to convince them that person on the right hand side of them that you don't see isn't there. You'll waste your time doing that. In fact, it'll be harmful to that person. It could be harmful to that person. So it's essential that you pick your battles wisely. And it's also essential that you understand, like, what's the point? Why would I try to argue with someone who wants to believe these things? Or the capacity or the level of fantasy that they have helps them believe, or the delusion. Trying to fight them point by point, what do they call it? With Gish Gallop, because it's like you don't even know what he was saying. It was a bunch of gish, what is it called? Gish gallop. I think I'm beginning to start to learn the debate terminology. You waste your time. Don't chase waterfalls. Don't chase fantasy. They say if you argue with two people, they say if you argue with a fool, you both look like fools. So I say I reserve my energy for better arguments. My goal here today is, can you be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African? He said that Pan-African is only something that we have done here. It's something we've done here. African or black people here, or whatever he calls himself here. No other place has done this, he says. So again, this is part of the more extreme version of the FBA ideology. Like you have all ideologies have more extreme versions on one side or the other. And see, he represents a more extreme version. This is not the Nashidian strand. This is more like, he said, I would think, maybe there's someone else out there. Maybe he's the leader. I don't know. I was thinking Dan Calloway was his leader, but perhaps. Hold up. What did JG? Where is that brother? Fact check, brother JG. What are you saying? Are you saying that someone? You saying? Tell me more about JG. Tell me more about it. I don't know. Hey, brother. Hey, Proper. Come on, Proper. You don't have to get on the screen. You need to catch me up with what's going on in the chat, man. I don't know what's going on in this chat. I want to know what's going on in this chat. But I'm gonna finish the I'm gonna keep going through this presentation, family. Okay. So again, Dr. Amos Wilson spoke about identity as prescription. That's the last video we went over. So how does this apply to FBA? The prescription, FBA prescribes how you view immigrants, how you pursue reparations, relate to Pan-Africanism, and define group loyalty. And more and other things. This is what FBA, this is what FBA prescribes. Professor Shabazz.
Yeah, I'm coming. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can definitely hear you. We
right,
in
I'll
there.
fall back till I'm ready.
Oh, you say you'll fall back?
Well, I'll jump in with
cool. Okay, I'll keep you there. All right, cool.
Okay.
So again, FBA prescribes how you view immigrants, pursue reparation, relate to Pan-Africanism, and define group loyalty. It defines how you see these things. It dilutes your ideas. It gives you ideas such as Elon Musk can be an African American, and you believe it. And I'm saying like we just have to do the research. Like me, who's steeped in identity, I also always have to go back and check, because identity is a very complex. It's complex. Let's just say that. All right, let's keep moving with dear Baba, Amos Wilson. All right, so I put here FBA's official ideological framework from, let's do this. So FBA official ideological framework from FBA official, the official FBA.com 2025, the website. FBA or FBAs has to currently be skeptical about, this is something in the website. FBAs have to be currently be skeptical about certain half FBA people who want to act as spokespersons for FBA collectively. If a person has dual allegiances to different ethnic groups and cultures, it's difficult to determine if they will look out for the best interest of FBA. It says here creates categories. FBA creates categories. Loyalists to their FBA lineage versus anchored tethers who view FBA society as a group to exploit and ultimately replace. And then it goes back, and then it goes on to say frames post 1965 black immigrants as buffers used by white power structure to undermine FBA. It frames post 1965 black immigrants as buffers used by white power structure to undermine FBA. This is what's on the website. Analysis. These are ideological prescriptions about allies, enemies, leadership, legitimacy, and political trust, not genealogy. Okay, let's go back to the first one. FBA has to currently be skeptical about certain half FBA people who want to act as spokespersons for FBA collectively. If a person has dual allegiance, to different ethnic groups and cultures, it's difficult to determine if they will look out for the best interests of FBA. This is, I think, a key point that I want to highlight. It definitely speaks about half FBA. So for example, right? My wife is from Jamaica. She's been here since she was 14. We have children. And it's telling you how to deal with these offspring. Because I'm from the United States. My wife is from Jamaica. It's telling you have to be careful with dealing with these. And the website even goes on to say that you can't have dual allegiances. You have to only have allegiance to FBA. That in of itself is anti-Pan-African. That one thing on Tariq Nasheed's website, that one aspect on Tariq Nasheed's website is clear that you have to be. Hold on, I want to say thank you for the super chat, super sticker, or whatever, you know. Thank you, John Kane. I think John Kane is the one who came in the building. All right. I want to say that it says that you can't have dual allegiances. You have to be totally committed to FBA issues and FBA issues alone. That is on Tariq Nasheed's website, his official FBA.com. Tariq Nasheed is the one who created the label. Tariq Nasheed is the one that everybody is afraid to critique because for whatever reason. I'm talking about, you never really hear FBA people really critique Tariq Nasheed in any significant way. Not in a significant manner. And what they try to do is juxtapose Tariq Nasheed next to Umar Johnson as if people who identify as Pan-Africanists actually take Umar Johnson seriously. And we have mad critique for Umar Johnson, which is bonkers and is disingenuous. I was listening to the show, and I know my dear brother knows this as well. He knows that. I'm talking about Brother Ted, like he knows that. Like he's sitting there on that couch, you know what I'm saying, in the groupthink, and I know he knows that he knows that I have mad critique for Umar Johnson. And most of us I've had critique for Umar Johnson, and to the degree that on Dr. Mayat's show, Dr. Mayat, myself, and others are saying we question whether or not he qualifies, again, because identity category There's some qualification there. You know what I mean? There's some qualification to these social constructs. So does he even qualify as a Pan-Africanist? Past the rhetoric, past what he says out his mouth, does his actions align with Pan-Africanists or Pan-Africanism, whatever version he's practicing? I think in any social construct, we can challenge whether or not a person really meets that criteria. And that's what we don't understand. But the reality is we challenge Umar Johnson. See, those people like Sincere Love to God, those people like, I mean, I think my brother Ted would critique. I will say that. I don't know. Ted is kind of dealing with this whole Indian thing too. Like, I mean, look, that's my brother too. Like, we've talked about this before. I just didn't know how far it went because for the most part, he can be logical, but I think Ted is one, like, he's holding on to the whole idea about his grandmother said this, that, and third, and respect to that. But at the same time, I think he's not really considering the damage of an FBA, the identity label. I think he's not considering the damage because on the surface, FBA makes a lot of sense for people. It, for me, is a very attractive term. And I understand how it describes us. It sounds pretty cool. And if Tariq Nasheed had not been the one who created it, and it wasn't created under these circumstances, and it was created from more of a pure need, on a need basis, I wouldn't have any problem with the term. But the term itself is loaded with Tariq Nasheed's ideas. He created a term, and you're going to argue that it doesn't have an ideology. There's no reason for any new terms to describe things if there's no ideas behind them. Like, there has to be a set of ideas that say we need this for these reasons. And if you go to the website, again, he says FBA has to currently be skeptical about certain half FBA people who want to act as spokespersons for FBA collectively. If a person has dual allegiances to different ethnic groups and cultures, it is difficult to determine if they will look out for the best interests of FBA. So he said, no, they cannot serve as leadership. So Pan-Africanists can't operate, at least as leadership. At least as leadership. They can't operate as leadership. That's the ideology. The ideology is saying you can't be a Pan-Africanist and also be in leadership in FBA. Like, again, who makes that decision? There's no ideology. Again, I asked the question, who's the judge? There's no organization. How do you decide that? Again, you say that we all are FBA, but then who decides whether or not, who makes that decision? Like, where did that rule come from if there's no ideology? See, there's a mixture of anachronistic capturing of all Black people under this label from now and historically Black people in America whose parents came or forefathers and mothers came through chattel slavery in this country that makes this a very complex scheme that he's putting forth. It's creating a way to confuse your mind because there's aspects of it that pulls on your emotional strings. When you start saying, well, Stevie Wonder is an FBA. When you start saying that, Martin Luther King was an FBA. When you start saying things like, Billie Holiday, when you just start saying all these historical figures are FBA, it does something. It puts you in a trance. And I'm being real honest because it's a very strategic trance that he's putting you in. And as Dr. Amos Wilson speaks about, we have historical amnesia. We also, he says, we historically, when we don't know our history, we're actually hallucinating. He says it's essential that we understand our history, and then we also understand, as we're talking about here, identity. Because, see, he's mixing and meshing identity and rewriting narratives, and his disciples come on here and say stuff like that. I don't think he's from the Nishidian strand, though, but he might be he is an offshoot of it. FBA is a subgroup of the that's a subgroup of the African American population in this country. It is not the 41 million they claim, or 42 to 43, wherever you go, you get the numbers. It is not that. FBA is an ideological movement. I hear, like, one thing I appreciate about my brother Ted and even Sincere is that they're clear. They've used the word movement. They say FBA movement. The word movement is indicative that it is a political endeavor, and political endeavors require some ideological framework or some framework in the making. It might not be a well-established framework or has well-established frameworks, but it definitely has Tariq Nasheedism and Tariq Nasheedism in it. Family, show me some love. Make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. You know, let's see what the time looking like. Okay. So again, let's get through this. Let's get through this presentation, family. So, so something happened here. So, let me just do it this way because it kind of went off. Okay. So let's get back to this. The second point. Creates categories: loyalists to their FBA lineage versus anchored tethers who view FBA society as a group to exploit and ultimately replace. This is what they put out. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying there's no individuals out here that don't have some interesting ideas, because people do. But I have not seen the group that is vile as committed to these diasporan wars or black people wars or Afro descendant war as much as I've seen with what we call FBA. I don't see it. Now you have individuals, you might have some friends who share ideas, but I have not seen it. I'm looking for it. Please share with me the great organization, the lineage of Africans that or Caribbeans that's spending so much time in trying to come at FBA or FBAs or African Americans or Caribbean Americans or any direction thereof. So then again, it frames post-1965 black immigrants as buffers used by white power structures to undermine FBA. It's on the website, family. It's on the website. This is a part of the ideology, family. It's a whack ideology, but it's an ideology. Let's see what y'all saying in the chat. He got that root work going. I saw that root work, American Dream. Oh boy. I saw that root work. I said, oh boy, what we got going on here? I said his name is Rootwork. Oh man, I gotta be careful with dude. But maybe he was African Rootwork, but I guess I was wrong, because according to him, there's no the whole idea of the enslavement process is made up and all this type of thing. All right, closing this slide out. These are ideological prescriptions about allies, enemies, leadership, legitimacy, and political trust, not genealogy. It's not just a basic framework. It's not this framework that we say is just a neutral framework. Neutral frameworks don't have this at all. And again, even if we didn't have this on the website, we would understand, as Dr. Amos Wilson put down, there's no neutral identities. You understand? As I share with people all the time, my dissertation was on Black identity. And I know how much work it takes to really understand these things and how complex identity is. A lot of us want to see identity in a very rigid way. And it's more complex than that. Sometimes I hear people say, well, that's a nationality, not an ethnicity, and this and that other. But we have to understand, even in that, there's no hard rules to these things, because there's no hard rules to lots of the things that we fight about. And that is the struggle in social science. Social science is, you have to operationally define things. And that's the essentialness. Okay, how FBA identity was formed. Wilson's conditioning model applied to FBA. Leadership. Tariq Nasheed coins and promotes FBA. The official FBA.com codifies the doctrine in a very loose sense. It's a whack doctrine, but it is what it is. It's there, right? Ideology production. Rules about who is FBA, loyalty tests, anti-Pan-African narrative, suspicion of immigrants. It's there, y'all. It's there. And it's more that's inside the heads of the leaders than what's on this website. Let's be clear about that. Social conditioning, rewards, in-group validation for staying on code. If another one of them say stay on code, I'm gonna Earl, I'm gonna throw up, like, be on code, stay on, like, you sound like a robot. It's sickening. Stand on code, and they say it the same ways. And the reality is, it's so funny, because I sit here and I can't stomach their videos much. But when I go over to their stations for a little while, then I realize they're all imitating Tariq Nasheed. These are clones. They even smack their lips like them. They even say you dig like them. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. The cult is real. Cults have evolved. They don't look the same anymore. As Brother Unc often speaks about, there's something called an internet cult. You know what I mean? So we really have to be clear that just because it doesn't look like it used to look, it doesn't mean that it's not a cult, family. Cults are real. So, man. So, again, media dissemination, podcasts, YouTubes, social media, spread talking points. See, Dr. Amos Wilson spoke about the spreading of the ideas and the ideologies and the culture and through media. And Tariq Nasheed is a media influencer. Again, I often say that if you don't want to use the word leader, he definitely says he's an influencer. And he's the #1 FBA creator and influencer. And everyone else is pretty much a copy of him. And they might evolve and might tweak it a bit. But when you truly look at it, they smack their lips like him. They talk like them. They have the same circular reasoning when and they have the same tactics when they bring somebody on. They have the same ways they cut people off. He has a book that they have studied and imitated. It's real out here. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You know, let's talk. So again, social conditioning rewards to in-group validation for staying on code. You know, you don't be like, for example, I'm not called a tether. My dear sister was called a tether, and she's been supportive to some degree of people identifying how they want to identify. But you still called a tether, whether or not you're still called a tether if you disagree with anything. And you don't have to be from another country. The brother who came on earlier, I use brother loosely, but I know he's my brother. You know, you guys, sometimes your brothers are sick. It is what it is. You can't, when your brothers are sick, they're sick. But the brother came on earlier. And what did he say? I just lost it. He said that they are tethers. He's the extreme variant of FBA. What was his name, y'all? Oh, his name was Rootwork. Rootwork. He said that all Africans and Caribbeans are tethers. If I stand correct, he said they're all tethers. So again, we have to be careful in the movements we create, because it doesn't see that apple is not too far from the origin, the primary root of FBAism, from the Nashidian variant. See, the Nashidian variant knows that it will create things like that, because you're going to always have extremes. And if the variant itself is an extreme already, it's going to create even more an even more intense and potent variant of whatever it is that you're creating. In this case, FBA. Result: a socially constructed identity. This is what it is. FBA identity was formed. Result: a socially constructed identity with an embedded ideology. It's not a neutral label. Wilson: identity is a result. Wilson says identity is a result of a culture approving and disapproving, or rewarding and not rewarding, to shape the individual in a way that benefits the culture. FBA, sadly enough, is forming a culture. It's a very sick culture. It's a very traumatized culture. It's a very black and white culture. It's a very defensive culture. It's a culture for people who need, for most of them, they need great healing. There are those who are just a bit confused about this. I just want to be clear. But those who are in and they understand and they read and they understand what FBA is, and they down with the cause, kind of like root work. There's some things that need to be done there. There's some work that he needs to do. There's some work that he needs to do, or work that he'll never be able to do. Yeah, people like that. So again, let's keep it moving. It's a culture being formed. They talk a certain way. They see the world with a certain worldview. They approve and disapprove. They reward and they punish. And this is a way that you shape culture. Dr. Amos Wilson says, Let's listen to him.
We must recognize that the basic identities of the oppressed are largely socially manufactured by their oppressors' culture and related social practices. And to a good extent, what we call Black culture in America today, even though it has deep African roots and African history still buried in it, is still related to and incarnations of Europe-centric culture. And we've got to recognize this and deal with it. We just can't praise it.
Yeah, so we just can't praise it. You know what I mean? And we have to understand that what we call culture and identity here in this country is being formed as a result of our experience here. And if you're not intentional, you will just recreate a more oppressed version of the dominant culture. And I argue and maintain that is what FBA is. FBA is from more of the conservative strand of this culture. And when I say conservative, I mean right-wing strand of this culture, which is very skewed and limited in their perspectives. And they're all about tradition and what's the guy name? I can't remember his name, but he says he said something about what's the white guy's name? Tucker Carlson. And he said, yeah, I like those FBA guys. You know, who's more heritage Americans than FBA? You know, and I tell you, if that wasn't enough for you right there, well, I don't know. Wahoo HP, peace and blessings. JG, let's see what JG's saying in the chat, man. American Dream guy, not, oh Lord, it went away. What happened to it? It went away. All right, look, I'm gonna just leave that one alone. So nonetheless, hold on, I was trying. All right, so nonetheless, let's get back to it. So again, the culture that we find and the culture that we see in FBA, it is a sub-oppressive culture. It's a sub-oppressive identity that is mimicking the dominant culture in this society. I did a video just yesterday, and I said that as I was listening to what I heard over there in Sincere's podcast with Divine and Tad, it just reinforced the idea that they don't want, or nor do they believe in African or Black people. They don't believe that we can, and I'm not even saying that we haven't. I'm saying that we do this already. I'm saying Pan-Africans already doing work. They're tired and frustrated with the work. They're tired and frustrated, so they want to join who they believe is the winning team. But as subjects of that team, whether they know it or not, that is what they adopted. They are subjects of that team. They are sub-oppressors. FBA is a sub-oppressive project. And some don't know that. You know, on that panel, the only one that I think that could wake up from this is Tad. Because I think he's the only genuine person on there. Although I think the groupthink was kicking in. But again, as I offered up on my video the other day, is that they were saying like they don't want to talk to us. They will dust Umar's boots. They will give Umar that work. Pretty much. I mean, they were just agreeing with Sincere. Sincere can't fight his way out of a paper bag intellectually. And this is what I mean, like, come on, man. Look, again, I'm very critical of Umar, more critical of Umar than I would be of Sincere. I believe sincerely lost, or maybe insincerely lost. But Umar, I think, is very problematic in a major way. And Sincere is getting there, by the way. His numbers are growing, but he's not the same threat. But Umar would obliterate him. I have no... What is he talking about? He couldn't hold... Look, when we was on Dr. Mayat's station, me, Dr. Mayat, Brother Unk, Dewan B, and Sincere. Sincere was lost in that conversation. He didn't know what to say. And I was just coming, I didn't even know what was going to go down like that for real. I didn't know what was really happening. You know what I'm saying? There was no preparation. I mean, I've since then have gone and really researched these things and looked at these claims, and they're not real. These fallacious ideas. And I've already known that they weren't, but even the ones that I thought could probably have some relevance don't have any relevance. They say stuff like there's no delineation on the census, and they say that we need this FBA title to get reparations, and they say all types of stuff that, you know, others start to walk back once they start to look at my videos and maybe other people's videos. Because I listened to the brother African, was an Pan-African think tank, and he was saying some real stuff over there. I heard him today. I'll probably start listening to him a bit more just to see what his perspective is, because what I heard him saying, you know, I share perspective. I'm not assuming he watches this station. I'm not assuming that either, but I do know that we have similar conclusions, and I appreciate what I've heard from him thus far. I think I see something going on. Hold on. Okay. Okay. I got that. Okay, let me go back to the chat. We're gonna close this one out strong too, family. So Dr. Amos Wilson, who shapes identity? I maintain that FBA is a child of MAGA. FBA is a child of conservative white supremacy culture in this country. I maintain that FBA are those, if our dear Harriet Tubman's statement is accurate, who said she would have freed thousands more if they only knew they were slaves. They are the representatives of that. I maintain that. Whether that happened or not, if Mama Harriet said that or not, the sentiment still exists. The sentiment still lands. FBA's anti-Pan-African stance, documented positions from FBA and ADOS leadership. FBAs often say Pan-Africanism is dead. I don't really hear real FBAs, because those who just say I can identify an FBA, I like it, they don't really know. They're not really they don't really know. Like, and if they do know, it's kind of like they don't still know, like the impact in the mind, the deposits, what they're trying to deposit, and what they're trying to deposit in the minds of our people, and the impact that it will have. I think that, again, those who say that you can be Pan-Africanist and FBA are extremely confused. whether that's because they lack the information or because they haven't fully been ready to wake up. They're extremely confused. African Americans are more genetically connected to white Americans than other Africans. They say stuff like that. they say stuff like that. You know what I mean? They say stuff like that. And then they will say, well, they all look, this is a movement in its infancy. It's not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse. Again, I like to go back to my thought of the statement I made earlier is that, and I want to say that several times, is that you might find some pseudo ideas within individuals in Pan-African spaces or African-centered spaces, but this is not the movement itself. You're going to find pseudo ideas wherever you go. But FBA is a pseudo movement. It is a pseudo identity, and it has a pseudo ideology that undergirds it. And not only what undergirds it, but what it's still building and projecting forth. FBA is toxic. The leaders of FBA are toxic. The influencer, the creator, the person who coined the term is a toxic person. If you can't see that, you're blind. And you're really blind. You like, or you're trying to, or you're hurt. You get some special feeling about being perhaps in proximity with this person, or perhaps you think you might make it on Hidden Colors 20. See, this is a thing. People will do some strange things for a little change or potential change. Not social change, but money or potential money. And maybe not money, but potential popularity. We have to really look at this in a political way. We cannot look at FBA and identity in an apolitical way, because identity has the ability to destroy us. Identity has social, political ideas that have the ability to destroy us and stop other things. To make our struggle. No, we have to fight this thing. And when people ask me whether or not I would sit with Tariq Nasheed, I think people think that somehow Tariq Nasheed is a person that is, why would I sit with Tariq Nasheed? Tell me that. There's nothing about him. And, there's nothing about sitting with him that I would feel good about. I don't want to be in Hidden Colors. It would help me be popular. I'm not worried about being popular. I do want these messages to get out. If I was popular in the way that we were promoting and pushing healthy forms of Pan-Africanism, yeah, let's do that. Healthy forms of healing, yeah, let's do that. But those things that perpetuate trauma in our community, that's problematic. And I don't want anything to do with it. It's just gotten worse over time. It's gotten worse over time. But I'm saying Hidden Colors and the power that we give this person, It's just gotten worse over time. People say, well, they used to be different. Umar was different. No, see, the thing is, I've been warning people about this for a long time. When you see them acting mature, that is indicative of their trauma. People who talk the way they talk and behave the way they behave are showing you who they are. And we think that somehow we all flawed. And I often say, I get it. We all got what you call flaws. And I say, well, I'm not speaking about flaws. I'm speaking about frauds. There's a difference between a flaw and a fraud. It says Njemil, I can't say the name. Njemil Atan. Njemile. Okay, thank you. Do not waste your energies on someone like Tariq. He is a demon in disguise. He is toxic. He and his followers are the same. I'm hoping, like, I would say, I definitely agree with the Tariq part, but I'm hoping that we can win some and heal some of the minds of the people who are following him, because there's so many people that, as one person said earlier, they used to follow Tariq. See, we have to learn how to identify certain personalities, and it's very clear to me that Tariq Nasheed, and his personality is that which will continue to utilize pimp tactics to get over on our people. And it's not even about getting over on our people. Let me reframe that. He will continue to use pimp tactics to maintain the lifestyle he maintains at this point in time. So he will continue to do whatever he has to do to continue to live to whatever standard it is that he's living at right now. And I'm saying on a material level. So again, there's a difference between a fraud and a flaw. Okay, so advocacy, FBA's anti-Pan-African stance, documented positions from FBA, ADOS leadership, advocacy for limiting Black immigrants' visas. They do things like that. BW21, so on and so forth. Wilson's counter framework. My position as a Pan-Africanist, FBA's ideological framework structurally opposes Pan-African unity.
What do I do with my life? Identity, to the extent that it is a cultural product, and identity is a cultural product. And I want to emphasize this because, you see, in this society, we stress individualism. And I try to get across to people all the time that in reality, there's no such thing as an individual. That is a social fiction. It is a type of label we use, but it does not exist in reality. That the individual, the thing that we call an individual, is really a synthesis of social experience. A unique combination of our having interacted with others and having undergone social experiences. And it's our unique way of expressing our social relations and our experiences. But who we are and what we are is the result of social relations. It is not something that is completely what? Unique to us and not shared on some level with others. The very fact that you speak a language means that you have a shared identity on some level. If you were completely individual, no one would be able to understand what you were saying. You see? You cannot fit into what? An ordered system and in an ordered society. If you want to imagine you can be a complete individual if you're in space all by yourself. But then what would be the point? It would have no what? No meaning. It would be pointless. Even the concept of individual can only achieve its definition within a social structure. It only has meaning within a social structure and in terms of relating socially to someone else. Otherwise, it is pointless. It is the social that creates the individual, not the other way around. And yet those who rule over us, you see, will have us think that we can be individuals in and of ourselves and by ourselves without any connection whatsoever to anyone else. And in that way, of course, it can maintain the disunity of our culture and maintain our disunity as a people and ultimately destroy us as a people. So identity.
So my point of this clip is that a lot of us who I will argue to a great degree struggle with political struggle, and many of us, or to varying degrees, including myself, we look at the simplest things as just being my right. Like, it's my right to identify how I want to identify, but not knowing and not taking into account, because it's not even your radar, the social, cultural, political implications. We think that we have those rights. First of all, I put here on the slide, rights granted by oppressive systems can be withdrawn when inconvenient or when convenient. Again, when we say, well, it's my right, I have the right. I hear people say they have the right to do, like, you can do it. But I think, again, we should ask the question, what's the political implications? What kind of outcomes will come from you making these decisions? See, individuals think that way. People who say, well, I can do it. I can do it. It's my right. It's my identity. Just like the sister told me not too long ago, who came on about the women and men conversation. It's my social media, but you're not considering the social implications. You're not considering the social outcomes, the potential outcomes as a result of your decision making. See, when you look at things from a Pan-Africanist and moreover African-centered lens, you are to consider the social implications, the socio-political implications. In fact, it's my right should come out your mouth very rarely, because it's about the collective, not an exclusion to you, but understanding that when you look at things from a collective sense, you are also concluded. You also included. But when we look at things as my right, that is a very Eurocentric construct. I have the right to identify. Like, I mean, that's cool. You do. I mean, I guess. I mean, you got to fight first and foremost to have any rights. And again, as I stated several times in this presentation, that identity is one of the things that people fight for. It is a social construct. It is a social, political, cultural construct. FBA is fighting hard to be identified as FBA with all types of delusions, and it looks like, listen to the brother early, hallucinations. I'm just kidding on the hallucinations part, but delusions, deluded, I would say. Maybe not. It sounds like there's some hallucinating going on there. But nonetheless, yeah, we say things like that. But we have to be very intentional. People who operate from a social political framework and ideology realize that you don't just do things because they feel good or they feel right. You have to really consider, is it aiding in your cause? Is it detracting or subtracting from your cause, the movement that you're fighting for? You have to ask the question, how does this fit in this movement? FBA is an anti-Pan-Africanist, anti-Black internationalist, or what have you, construct. So what do I have here? I think I have it here. Can I be both FBA and Pan-African? Common objection. It's my personal choice to identify as both FBA and Pan-African. My response: you can say you are both. You can say you are both, but as Wilson argues, ethnic identity is a prescription of behaving, for seeing yourself and seeing each other and seeing the world. FBA doctrine prescribes suspicion of immigrants, boundaries around dual allegiances, and rejection of Pan-African solidarity. Pan-Africanism prescribes transnational unity and shared struggle across the diaspora. These prescriptions point in opposite directions. These prescriptions point in opposite directions. Individual self-description is real, but the political content of FBA ideology has objective effects that undermine Pan-African projects, regardless of personal intentions. African American is sufficient, I say. A historical precedent. African Americans emerged in the 1980s, 1990s as self-determined ethnonym. Specifies descendants of enslaved Africans in the U.S. Allies ideological diversity, Pan-African nationalists, integrationists even. Reparations argument. Genealogy and documentation matter for claims. Again, reparations argument. Genealogy and documentation matter for claims. A new ethnonym is not required. California's reparations task force used African American successfully.
Thank you.
FBA's anachronistically move retroactively applying FBA to all 43 million Black Americans with enslaved ancestry creates a confusion. FBA is a subgroup. FBA is a subgroup within the African American population. Let me say it again. FBA is a subgroup within the African Americans who adopt a specific ideological framework, not a totality of the population, as I've said at various times throughout this presentation. So, in conclusion, I want to say identity as power. Identity is never neutral. It always carries ideology. FBA is an ideological project which prescribes boundaries and loyalties. FBA is an ideological project that prescribes boundaries and loyalties. It creates internal divisions and rejects Pan-Africanism. It creates internal divisions and rejects Pan-Africanism. African-American is sufficient. It is a sufficient ethnonym. Genealogy matters for reparation, not a new label. The question is, whose power? To what end? And as I started this presentation out today, I said that I would give you my opinion. And I want to be clear that when I say FBA is a war against Pan-Africanism. FBA is an ideological construct that is warring on Pan-Africanism. It is not about your individual hurts and your skewed perspectives about what people are doing holistically against us. Yes, let me be clear. They are ignorant Africans. They are ignorant Caribbeans. They are ignorant African Americans. They are ignorant people everywhere. But even if they were all ignorant, that is not enough to say that Pan-Africanism is not a necessity. Because even if they were ignorant, the goal of Pan-Africanism is to wake them up. FBA's goal is to put you back to sleep. Again, it doesn't matter if only 10% of Africans had enough information, or 10% of Caribbeans, or 10% of African Americans showed strong solidarity to one another, which is not the case. It's quite the opposite. But even with that, our goal as Black people or African people is to realize that we have an enemy that becomes stronger as a result of our division. So the goal is to bring us together. Family, if anybody wants to jump in before I get off of here, you know, we got the link. We got the link. The link is in the chat. As Sister Queen say, don't hold back. We don't have much more time here. But again, Pan-Africanism is about global solidarity. Does that mean everybody? Fools, no. It doesn't mean everybody. We're not that foolish to think that everybody. Does that mean every country? It doesn't even mean every country has to agree. But the more that do agree, the stronger we'll become. Doesn't mean every African American, because we're not foolish enough to think that every African American is going to believe this, or fight for this. Again, Harriet Tubman said that I could have. Well, we said it. The legend says that Harriet Tubman says that I could have freed more of them if they only know they were slaves. I am arguing. I maintain that Tariq Nasheed is operating from a sub-oppressive position. He's a puppet master. And he has cronies that want to get close to him for popularity, for pay, for just feeling like you're powerful. Popularity, pay, and power. So family, FBA is anti-Pan-Africanist. And there's no way that you can be both. I want to see anybody who argues against this point to put their presentation forth. Not just any loose talking. The same people who use Amos Wilson, they try to use Amos Wilson and call him FBA. That's the trickery and the mind corruption. That is the mind manipulation that they're creating. Well, Amos Wilson was an FBA. That type of talk. Family, the link is in the chat. Hey, cuz, are you able to put the link in the chat again? I'm not sure. Can you, or do I have to do it? So family, I'm gonna go ahead and close up this video from Dr. Sundiata. A dear sister of mine sent this to me. I just think that he really says it very profound. And let's do that.
I'll start from this premise. I do believe that some of them are confused, but I don't think their leadership is confused. I think their leadership are collaborators. They are enemies of our people. They are conservatives and right-wingers. There's three problems we got with ADOS and foundational Black Americans. The first is they're xenophobic. So they can't take a Pan-Africanism because they're against other Black folk at a foundational level. Second, they're promoting integration. They manipulate symbols of nationalism, but their goal is to integrate into capitalist America. They don't even want to transform it. They want to integrate into it. And third, they support global financialized racial capital. In the words of our brother who passed recently, D'Angelo, they want a piece of the devil's pie.
Mm-hmm. I say they definitely do.
So I see this question about in the chat. How can that's the stupidest question ever. I'm sorry. I realized I decided that I'm going to keep my family. Come and join in before we get off of here. Brother Professor Shabazz, if you got something, come on in. If not, it's cool. You know, you make me feel good just being in behind the scene because got my back. You know what I mean? So I'm good with that.
No doubt. I do got a question for you though.
You do got a question? Okay.
Yeah.
And let me read this right here. What I said is foolish. How can FBA be against you all when he has, I'm not even gonna say the name, but let's say Pan-Africanists in his new doc? So the reality is manipulators, that's kind of like saying, how can I be racist and I have white, I've hired Black people. Like the level of reasoning is off. The level of underestimating his manipulation is off. You probably couldn't have been looking at this show from the beginning. Because the reality is, as I stated from the beginning, that this is a very manipulative project from your dear brother, Tariq Nasheed. He's a manipulator. He is. So, again, that's like saying, oh, I hire Black people. Oh, I hire Mexicans. Oh, I hire people. I'm not ethnocentristic. Okay. And also, it gives him that it offers up that foolish idea in your mind. Oh, well, he has Pan-Africanism in it. Again, I'm saying he's manipulating your mind. I put these people before you so as you can, so that somehow you think that somehow what he says out of his mouth doesn't matter. Everything he says out of his mouth is against that. He might at times come back and like, well, I don't say all or this or that. That's tricks. And only people who have not awakened are being fooled by the game. Look, I'm starting to question whether or not y'all Black people, when y'all acting this damn dumb. Like y'all never seen people try to swindle you before. Again, I gave myself license to get off the chain just a little bit, but I'm questioning whether or not you've been through anything. If you ever met anybody, you must have never gotten over on, or maybe you just love getting gotten over on, or you don't know how people manipulate our people. I love Black people. I got Black friends. Oh, I'm not racist. I got black friends. Oh, don't you know Tyrone? Tyrone comes over all the time. We drink beer. Like, come on. Let's do better. Think harder. Think harder. Try harder. Try harder. Think harder. With all due respect. Nothing against you. But I did want to be a little shocking when I said it. Dre Day. So please excuse me for being a bit animated. Brother Shabazz, you want me to bring you up?
Yeah, you bring me up just for a hot second.
Okay. Oh God, where's my mouse? Okay. Okay, you know what I gotta take that off. Okay, I see.
Okay.
What it is, cuz?
What's going on, cuz? How you doing?
Oh, we ain't no gangsters. Or somebody said y'all keep saying cuz. I don't know. I didn't know that was gangster talk. Well, that's my cousin, biological.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But here's the question. In answering your question, your lead question, I wanted to try to reframe it for people, because there are people in the chat that say, yeah, you can be both, you can be all three or whatever. And so my question is, okay, can you be a Christian and a Muslim at the same time? Can you be a Republican and a Democrat at the same time? Like literally be these things, not where I can agree with both sides. I can be a Democrat and I can find some ideas that I agree with in the Republican Party. Or, I'm a Christian, but I can agree that there are some things that Muslims do that are okay with me. No, I'm literally asking, can you literally be a Christian?
I'm gonna give one a little bit more.
Okay.
One that hits a little harder. I like the examples, but can you be gay and straight at the same time?
Well, that nails it right there. But that's the question that we want to put to the people, especially the people in the chat. That's like, yeah, we are all the same. We can be FBA and ADOS and African American and Pan-African.
You can call yourself anything, but we know what we're talking about.
Right. When the pedal hits the metal, when you really get down to it.
Yeah.
No, there's distinctions that cannot be overlooked.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing that I just wanted to like I said, I just wanted to bring it up as the framework of the question, because there are people saying, and even the root work dude tried to say that African Americans and ADOS and FBA are all the same, and then he went really off the cliff or whatever. But no, like you can't hold on to these extremely contradictory ideas and say that it's all the same thing.
You can call yourself what you want to call yourself. Let's do that. Like you can say what you want to say, but what are you doing? Again, I'm saying all identities have some qualifying characteristics. Again, a person could probably say that they're Christian and a Muslim, maybe 6 months, like, I mean, maybe I used to but I think the gay and straight, maybe you say there's a new category. That's another category called bisexual. So you might say I'm gay and straight. That means the other categories I'm bisexual. So are you like, that's still, you're not, you can't say you're not, unless you don't identify with the word gay, because I know a dear brother, Cleo Monago, who speaks about that term is not a term that the black community came up with either. So nonetheless, what I'm saying is the actions are what's essential. The characteristics that make up the identity label. People can play those games.
I'll be right back.
All they want. But the reality is, if you're utilizing your brain cells and not playing games, you know that if you just listen to this particular presentation and breathe a little bit and realize that the major that you can only be is there's limits to being FBA, there's limits to being FBA and what you can do as FBA, perhaps. Let's say that. And I can see how people can play with that.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, as soon as I disagree, they call me a tether.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if they consider me FBA. I don't really identify as FBA. I understand that even if FBA say they're a neutral movement, I know they're not. I know they are a movement that's here to cause division. There's the dear elder Bible been in this work for a long time, and that who just closed out. Dr. Amos Wilson speaks about identity as a prescription for action. You know, he speaks about identity as prescription for action, right? And
define yourself by a word or a label. It is not a mere designation of ethnic characteristics, nor just a designation of people who may look alike to some degree, or share a similar area, or share a particular area. Ultimately, an ethnic identity is a prescription for behaving, for relating to each other in a particular way, for seeing yourself and seeing each other and seeing the world and relating to God and relating to nature and relating to everything else in the world so that it operates in the interest of the group. Must understand that. In the racial designation or identity is a prescription for action, is a prescription for relating.
yeah, I think Dr. Amos Wilson speaks to it very clearly. I won't even try to say any more.
Right. Right. And I mean, the behavior in the chat kind of shows it too, because even the people that in the chat tonight that have been saying you can be both or you can be all, and the ones that were saying, you know, it's neutral and it's not hate, the second you said something that they disagreed with, they started cursing, they started giving you names, and I'm like, I'm in the chat like block, block. Oh yeah, like all kind of stuff. And I'm just like,
what were these people
like? Go ahead.
Were these people like Pan-African adjacent?
Oh no. These are the FBA people.
I would
But
wonder
that's
if
the
they
thing,
consider themselves. Did they consider themselves Pan-Africanists? That would be a great question. The ones who were making that argument, do they consider themselves Pan-Africanists?
Well, you know, I can't speak for them, but I didn't see anything coming in the chat that would suggest that they were holding a positive attitude towards Pan-Africanism. They were simply trying to say, yeah, you could be FBA and an African American, or you could be an FBA and a, maybe one or two said and Pan-African. But again, my whole thing is you can like you can say it, and you can say it and mean it, or you can say it performatively just because you're trying to, you know, get people's attention because you're in the chat and that's the conversation discussion tonight. But again, if you say it, and then as soon as you say something that counters a quote unquote FBA narrative, then they say, well, hey, well, you're just a tether. Well, you just said you can be both. So if you can be both, then sooner or later there's gonna be some kind. There's terminology that will come where you're gonna have to make a decision. If I say I'm both a Pan-Africanist and an FBA, well, how am I going to handle the fact that I don't like I might not have a problem, or how are they gonna handle the fact that I don't have a problem with Africans coming over here? Like, nah, because FBA says no, we supposed to, we gotta call ICE. So you like, no, you can't be both. And then if you say you're both, you're not being honest, or you haven't thought this thing through. Now maybe you haven't thought this thing through. But again, that's why I was like, well, yeah, you know, you can say that I'm a Christian and a Muslim, but you know,
I respect my brother Ted. The other day he said, my brother Ted on the show, on Sincere's show, he said, I used to be Pan-Africanist.
Mhm.
But I've evolved out of that into becoming an FBA. I'm part of the FBA movement, and the FBA movement is where it's at. The rest of you, in other words, I'm paraphrasing him saying in saying that Pan-Africanism is old, is outdated, and is done.
Mhm.
That
Well,
juxtaposition is indicative that even what people might say one thing, but in practice, in action, as Dr. Amos Wilson speaks about identity as prescription for action, Tad's understanding is more accurate and more honest, because he's saying that, yeah, this new identity, I took on this new identity because that Pan-Africanism stuff is dead. That Pan-Africanism stuff never got us anything. That stuff is old, outdated. This is what they said. So I would at least be more willing to talk to someone who truly is being honest about it being an identity, or a movement, quote unquote. All movements have ideological underpinnings or goals.
Right.
So the thing is, those who, even Sincere, I've heard Sincere say the FBA ideology, and he's like one of the top ones on the internet right now speaking about FBA. I'm not sure if he's one of the top, but he's getting good numbers as of now. But there's others that I don't know. I can't listen to them because I honestly, some of them I can black something and something else, and like all these FBA people with all these Kemetic names and African names, like these are for them, this is the evolution, and they all speak about how for the most part, when I say all, a lot of them, most of them speak about Pan-Africanism being dead, and now they are part of the FBA movement. And then some try to be a little bit more let's say they just say, well, it's not the FBA movement, it's the Lineage movement, it's the delineation movement. So whatever you want to say, whatever you want, words you want to throw, you want to play games with words, I'm not foolish enough to get tricked up in it. I think that those of us who say these things have to realize that we are out of our weight class when we still think that FBA is not a movement with an ideology. That
this is all I would say is, that's all true. I'm like, I guess my thing, if you're trying to keep the peace, if you're trying to have a honest conversation, because I got a friend of mine that's on that same type of thing, that they carry a West African name, and we have always been had these conversations about the struggle, the cause, and this, that, and the other, and they are now on the FBA train and whatnot, and they always trying to ask me, I don't understand why you're not coming over here and whatnot, and I'm just like, but what is the end goal? What is the things like, okay, if you say that you feel like Pan-Africanism is dead, I vehemently disagree, and I spend a lot of time on my channel trying to show and prove that. But if you do say that it is dead, then what is it that you are working on as the FBA or as a member of the FBA movement? Because again, I'm like, okay, fine, you can feel like it's dead. I don't have to necessarily, debunk that. I can, but what is the activities that you're working on as the FBA? Like somebody in the chat tonight said that the FBA has gotten more done in the past 10 years than anything that coming out of Pan-Africanism or any other Black group. And I said, prove it. And they said, even though it hasn't been accepted, the FBA got the HR 40 bill, the furthest that it's been. And I was like, okay, but look, okay, mostly the HR 40 bill has gotten to as far as whatever it has gotten with the help of an African American who identifies as an African American, who died identifying as an African American, and even the other congressmen and or representatives that picked up that legislation and said, we're going to hold this and we're going to try to get it across the finish line. They are African Americans. They stand in solidarity with other Black immigrant groups who are in Congress or whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's still not an FBA. Like nobody up there identifies as an FBA. So to your point earlier, because you said, I think you said something about, you know, when all else fails, they try to hijack the African American and just, oh, it's just a name. It's just an umbrella term. That way they can grab hold of all of the achievements that either a Pan-Africanist or just an African American who believes in a particular thing is actually working on.
Yeah, they're dishonest. I mean, you were very articulate with that. I mean, I appreciate your brain and your ability to even sort through that foolishness. So hey, but you did a great job. I mean, I'm proud to say you my family, you know what I'm saying? Like it's definitely trickery, and you actually brought some context to what I was saying as far as how they try to usurp everybody's FBA to kind of to trick your mind and hit you in an emotional space, and they would just claim anything as FBA because the reality is, if they were being honest, they couldn't even, like the mind fuck, excuse my language, I gotta say it, is that they could, if they really were honest about their own argument, they could never say FBA got it furthest. They could only say FBA got it furthest, because that means the people who also identify as Pan-Africanists, again, who are the those who really did a lot of the groundwork on bringing about that bill or what have you, they are also would have been identified as FBA, but they are saying they are delineating between the Black Americans who have identified themselves as Pan-Africanists. So that's the only way they could say that. So they're not only delineating from Africans and Caribbeans, they are delineating from African Americans who have ancestry from this country just by saying that.
Yeah, they are. It's
because it's not true, but the reality is they wouldn't even have to be able to show that difference. Because the way that they say that everybody's FBA, who sponsored them? Who are the ones who took the bill to Congress and so forth, so on? Who were they before?
Right.
So what is this new? Is FBA a new thing, or is it a thing that's we've always been? Because they're saying they're always double speaking, and that is how they trick your mind. Like they wouldn't even have to say FBA has gotten it further, because what they're saying now, FBA movement, the FBA ideology, the FBA that which is different than those who identified in Cobra and other organizations like that. They're juxtaposing what Cobra has done in organizations like that and people like that against what they're now calling FBA, which is further showing the delineation that they're creating, even with African Americans who have ancestry who came through chattel slavery in this very country. So again, the logic is off, and it's always off. But you have to really think when you hear them talk, and it can become overwhelming and it can sound smart. But the problem is we have to slow down, do a deep breath, and really think. And the reality is everybody's not that type of thinker. Some people are like, I don't feel like dealing with that. And that's how most people like I'm not dealing with all of that. Because it's like, I'm talking about even those who adopt the label. I'm not dealing with all that. I don't care about that. Those are the ones who are not who position themselves from an apolitical position. They're like, I don't care about all of that. And then there's those of us are like, I ain't even messing with none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, I'm not trying to sort all this stuff out. And that's because people don't have time to be trying to really think about these mental manipulation tricks that FBA be putting out. I am being very clear. I'm delineating myself from FBA. Although they do it with me, but act as if they're not doing it. Although they do it with people from in Cobra, but in the very statement there, they have shown that they're not only delineating from Africans and Caribbeans, they're also delineating from Africans in America with certain ideological frameworks, hence or Pan-Africanism.
Exactly.
You cannot be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African. And I think that ADOS Yvette Carnell would tell you clearly that ADOS is a political movement.
Yeah.
We know that ADOS is a political movement and that Tariq hijacked it, but now he wants to call it a lineage. We know that FBA, that ADOS created the template for a FBA. We know that Tariq just changed the name and did some strange things with it, but we're acting as if one can be a political movement who call themselves American descendants of slavery, and then others, the next iteration of it, which is FBA, is now not a movement. Is not now they don't have leaders, and so on and so forth. He disconnected himself from Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell, but then he creates his thing and said, oh, it's not a movement. Oh, we don't have leaders. Oh, but it's the very same thing.
I mean, he had to delineate from them because he doesn't. I ain't trying to say this to throw a shot, but he don't have the skill set to approach it the way they did. I don't like them, and I disagree with them, but they definitely have a political mindset on how to approach legislation and legislators, and he don't have that. So of course he don't want to deal with that. He want to keep it social.
James Harlem is in the house. I don't know what's going on with James Harlem, but we'll bring him up. As long as he's respectful, he can stay on. Let's see. My mouse is dying. Okay. All right. Brother Cuz, I'm gonna put. Okay, if James fixes his camera and make it look good, we can get him. You're gonna have to get the camera together, James. I'm looking at you. I trust you can get it. All right, man. Look, I see you, man. You got your melanin popping too, bro. Just keep it right there. Mr. Harlem, can you turn it sideways like landscape? I want the full box. Oh God, what happened? So oh no, yours ain't working. Just go ahead and do your thing. I'm gonna bring you in. Turn it the other way, back like you had it. It didn't switch. Okay, right there. All right. Get back to your position. I want the picture to look good for the family. I want them to see who this scholar is who's coming on to talk. All right, Mr. Harlem, where you calling from? I'm assuming Harlem, but I could be wrong.
Your assumption is correct. I'm in Harlem right now. I'm definitely a FBA foundational American black man.
All right. What it is? What's happening?
Yeah, I briefly caught some of the things you guys were saying, and if I'm correct, there was some confusion about us blacks in America calling ourselves foundational black Americans. Am I correct?
No confusion.
Oh, well, that's great. Okay, can I ask you a question?
I mean, let me make sure I'm understanding what you mean when you say confusion. Maybe spell that out, and I'll tell you whether or not. I think when you say confusion, you might mean that there might be some disagreement.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I do disagree. Yes.
You do disagree with people who were formerly called African Americans, and I say formerly because I no longer consider myself an African American as far as identification purposes, but it can be applied.
But are you on your Mr. Harlem? Are you in your earpieces? Because this sounds horrible. I want to make sure the people can hear you.
Is this better, or is it too loud or too?
No, I'm wondering if you can take your earpieces out and talk directly into your phone.
Okay, I can do that. Let's see if I can turn on the speaker.
What was that you, Cuz? Oh no, I can't hear you at all now. Jeez. Mr. Hall? All right, so, Mr. Hall, I'm gonna let you get that together, and I'm gonna bring you back up. I'm gonna watch you from when you put your thumb up. I'll bring you back on. When you put your thumbs up, I'll bring you back on. But yeah. So, Cuz, anything else about Mr. Harlem gets that together?
No, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I can I'll fall back if you want. I wanted to hear what he was gonna say, but well, clearly he already said that he's pro FBA. So
yeah, I mean, I want to hear. I mean, but I appreciate if you do stick around and if you got the time and have the dialogue with the brother.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to hear. I want to hear at least what he's saying. I'm again looking at the chat, and I think it's just funny. People just have this. To some extent, people just want to hear their ideology spoken. Like, so as soon as somebody says I'm an FBA, then the chat, the FBA people, yep, y'all getting cooked. Like, ain't been no conversation yet. Ain't been no debate. Ain't been no difference of opinion. You getting cooked because somebody says I'm FBA.
That's one of the ideological catechisms. That's just something they say. It's kind of like it must be algorithmically friendly for FBA. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just they've been trained well. So due to their training, what they do is they just say the same words over again. Y'all being cooked. Oh, y'all off code. That's tether babble. Or that's just say the thing. You don't have to even incite the response, but that's just what they do. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just what they do, bro. When that's a thoroughly trained following. I don't even want to say cult because they give cults a bad name. So I don't, that would, let's hashtag that. FBA gives cults a bad name. So we won't call them a cult. That's a hell of a following for an influencer. But Mr. Harlem, let me not disrespect Mr. Harlem. Oh, my pardon, Mr. Harlem. I forgot you were here, and I want to be respectful. Mr. Harlem, are you gonna come back on though? Oh, is that what it is? Someone said his TV is on. Is he like listening to it and also calling in? Is that perhaps what he's doing? Mr. Harlem, are you there? Okay, Mr. Harlem, I can't. I don't know if Mr. Harlem's gonna make it on, but family, anybody else want to jump? I really did want to speak to Mr. Harlem, but again, I just want to say again, in closing, this was I hope that people were fed by the presentation, because I know to kind of respond to what you're saying here, I don't expect everybody to agree. Mind manipulation is a process, to remove yourself from authoritative mind control. It's a difficult process. It's a process to see things in a different way when you've been ensconced in a certain ideological perspective. As some of our greatest thinkers say, it's essential to interrogate your ideas. I interrogate my ideas. I critique Pan-Africanism. I critique African-centered thought. I have a whole presentation that I'll be giving at the Association of Black Psychologists 57th convention here in Baltimore in the summer, which is really further evolving and critiquing what I'm calling the reclamation of psychology through my NGF framework. I do think that there has been issues with the way that we've practiced. And I'm not even saying issues in a way. I think that the issues are there. Yes. But what I mean is the issues are also to some degree needed. This is not malicious stuff I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about that there's some beliefs that I believe still get in the way of our healing. There's some approaches that get in the way of our healing, individual and collective healing. And we have to always evolve, and we have to always be analytical and critical of our own frameworks to see how and if they've evolved to also fall in the category of what Baba Wilson spoke about when he spoke about the let me see if I can find it. When he said that in other words, when he spoke about this idea of identity, many times, especially of oppressed groups, are being formed by the oppressor themselves. So many times, even when you're forming an identity, if you're not critical of those identities and frameworks, you may think you're doing something that is powerful, liberating, freeing, but you might be just doing the opposite, perpetuating the framework. Mr. Hall, I'm not sure I don't know. I don't see you on here anymore. I'm not sure if you're trying to come in. I see you, but what I'm gonna do, let me do this real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna bring Mr. Harlem up because you stay there. Mr. Harlem, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Oh, you sound good.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to share my opinion. It's the first time me calling your show. I appreciate the intellectual manner that you guys are conducting yourself with, and it is a breath of fresh air from other places I've been. I particularly wanted to ask a question concerning Black people in general, but I will be more than happy to answer the question that you have posed to me. I believe first, as far as my beliefs about being FBA.
Well, I think you were asking me whether or not I had any confusion around FBA, and then I said no, I don't have any confusion what FBA is. But then I said, well, perhaps the way that you're stating this question, you may mean I may have interpreted different than how you wanted to land. So I reframed it to ask you, do you mean that I have some confusion? I disagree with the label FBA to describe Black people here in America whose ancestry come through chattel slavery on this particular in this particular country.
I understand. The reason why I'm attracted to it, and also think that it should be something that we use because of its actual meaning, foundational Black American. And I understand that it was born out of necessity. The necessity to distinguish ourselves amongst other Black people whose ancestors did not make the contributions that ours have made, yet reap the same or even more of the rewards that's being offered by this country. And I also believe that reparations.
Can you say that part again about the rewards?
They reap some of the rewards that our ancestors, when I say our ancestors, the people who came before us, some of who's still here, but all that they went through just to make America a better place for black people who were the descendants of those who were enslaved or those who went through the hardships for hundreds of years.
Can we deal with that? What you said so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I appreciate that framework that you're looking at, and I feel like it's a very authentic lens that you're looking through. But there's no evidence, and there's no necessity to create a new identity label to reap those benefits or to make sure these things are allocated towards those who you call FBA. That the label FBA does not safeguard that. It's the way that it's written into law, policy, procedure. It's also what you're really saying is you want to have certain benefits be directed towards certain people from a certain genealogical background or origin.
The reason why that's essential is because our people have contributed so much willingly and unwillingly. And there are people who just arrived. They are brothers and sisters.
What did you hear me say though? I want to make sure that you really, because I hear you saying something in return, but I'm wondering if you have any, like what you heard me say. And I'm also wondering, after, I just want to be clear, you actually heard what I said.
What I've heard you said was that there was no real necessity for us to do that. And I was trying to explain from my standpoint the necessities, and maybe I was being a little bit long-winded to get to the point. I'm just trying to be perfectly clear.
You started. I just want to. So you said you said, so you picked up that I said there's no real necessity to change or create a new label to make sure that we receive those benefits or rewards or whatever you're identifying here. There's no necessity for a new label. You're clear on that?
I'm thinking you were verbatim from what you said, what I heard you say.
Yeah, I mean, are you following me there? Like, there's like,
yes, sir.
So with that, I would like to hear why you think that the label is necessary.
Okay, the label is necessary because delineation is necessary, and I feel delineation is necessary if the people who did the hard work of building America, which were some of the Black Americans that were enslaved, some of the indigenous Americans who were considered or should be considered Black, the people who founded this country and fought in the wars voluntarily, even involuntarily.
You mean African Americans, right?
African Americans. That term I will use for the description of the people I'm talking about. But FBA in the delineation is what's needed for the purpose of reparation. Reparations are.
There's no need for it. Everybody already
knows. There's no need for reparations?
No, there's no need to change the term. African Americans are the same people. The people that you identify as FBA are clearly African Americans.
Okay.
There's no one.
I'm sorry.
That they're clearly African Americans. One, and two, even if one identifies, let's say 3 generations from now, you're a third, your genealogy does not have you, your genealogy is different. What you're asking for is someone to have certain benefits due to their lineage claim here in America. That's all that's enough. That's enough. You don't have to create a new name.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Can a white person that was born in Cape Town
No.
come
No.
over here and be
No.
African American?
I already know it. No, not at all. Because when you
So
look up the
Elon
term
Musk is not a.
when you look up the term African American, it's going to clearly tell you who they are. And they're black descendants of Africa whose ancestry came through American chattel slavery.
So Elon Musk could not put
No.
African American on his passport.
No, he can't. You weren't. Anybody can put anything they want to put, right? But if let me give you an example. Well, not on his passport, perhaps, but let's say census wise. If you wanted to put that you're Asian, you could do that. You know what I mean? So let's be clear about that. Okay. So 2, Elon Musk, no one will take him as being African American, nor does the description of African American describe him. This is real. Just Google it. Make sure you're not on the FBA site though.
So someone who's from Africa, born in Africa, be they Chinese or any non-black, if they come to America,
no, sir, they're
just going to be American.
Okay. No, they won't. They would be their ethnic origin. So what they will be is perhaps, let's say they're Asian and they move and they're now South African. They'll be South African American.
Okay.
South Africa is a country.
I understand. So they can be South African. They can be South African, which is still African, but they can be South African American.
Something very different than, and it has its own. And then within South Africa, they have their own ethnicities. You got what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but the same way you could say they can be South African, it just bears the reason that they can just forget the South and just say African.
No, it doesn't work that way.
It sounds like it's your definition. It sounds like it's your definition.
No, don't insult me.
No, sir. I'm just telling you what it sounds like to me, and that's not an insult. I'm just being honest with you.
Listen to what I'm saying, Mr. Harlem. I said research. I know you're not doing any research because, what I mean is, I want you to Google this. This is quick. Do it. It's an easy fix. It's not my definition. All you need to do is take as much energy as you do when you listen to these frauds and put it in a Google search. Make sure it's not an FBA source.
Okay, I will definitely have more a more defined explanation, but
can't you do Google now?
Right now I'm just saying
Is it okay? I mean, I appreciate you honestly, because I hear that you, and I don't want to trigger you or nothing, but I can hear that you are genuine. I can hear that. I know that, maybe what I'm saying is not something you want to hear, but I do hear that from what I've heard so far, you're a genuine person. Pardon? All right. Cuz, you got something? Mr. Harlem is
I Googled it. I just Googled it like you asked him to do. So I'm telling you, like, Google will tell you, that you can't even put that stuff on the passport. Now, maybe he don't literally mean passport, but like Google says,
look,
well, I know.
Because can I cut you off? Hold up. Let me cut you off real quick because my man, Mr. K, always talking about I'm the Pan-African peacemaker and you the Pan-African destroyer, but you seem to got more skills in giving people the benefit of the doubt than me. Come on, Mr. K. Who is the Pan-African peacemaker and who is the Pan-African terminator? Go ahead, cuz.
No, and I'm like, so okay, I did the search on Google. And so Google says, as with Elon Musk, a U.S. passport and most state driver's licenses do not even list race or ethnicity. These documents verify legal identity.
Say that again, because Mr. Holland's back, so I want to make sure you tell him exactly what you just did.
It says, and this is Google. This says, as with Elon Musk, a U.S. passport and most state driver's licenses do not list race or ethnicity. These documents verify legal identity, citizenship, and residency, not heritage. A Jamaican, a Ghanaian citizen would have their specific country of birth and citizenship listed, not a racial descriptor.
So that would mean racial descriptors wouldn't apply to anyone.
Well,
that would mean racial descriptives wouldn't apply to anyone.
Well, no, I don't know if that's what that means. What's that? What do you mean by that? I'm looking on my license to see, because I could have swore that that there was black or something on there on my license.
I was wondering too, but I'm like I said, I'm just reading what came off of Google.
You might be right, because that B on here says restriction. Maybe black is a restriction. I got a B on my license. It said restriction, under restrictions. I mean, I got a B class license, right? Or no, classification C.
Now we looking at licenses. We not looking at passports.
Yeah, you looking at a passport right now?
I'm trying to grab my passport.
Oh, B on my license mean corrective lenses.
Okay.
All right, so you might be right there, cuz you might be right.
But it actually says it says there are no ethnic descriptors. So Elon Musk cannot put African American or any other ethnicity on his U.S. passport, because U.S. passports do not include a field for race or ethnicity. A U.S. passport only lists nationality as United States of America as a place of birth, which for Elon Musk, it would say South Africa.
Question. Once again, let's just take another part of Africa. A citizen from Africa comes over here and becomes a citizen in America. Do they carry their continent first, then American, or do they carry their race first, then American? Would they be able to say that I'm an African American that comes from Kenya?
Can I answer that? Well,
yeah, go ahead.
First and foremost, they're going to go by not their continent. They're going to go by their country of origin in most cases. It's a clear definition of what an African American is. It does not, and it also depends on what you're speaking about. If you're like he just shared with you now from it seemed to be accurate so far that this is not on licenses and perhaps passports, but what is on. So that let's get that out of the way and make that clear, right? Because we will begin to move the goalposts, right? So initially, so he answered your question. Like, go and look at your license and tell me if your race or ethnicity is on there. I'm not sure. It might be different state by state, but for sure, I looked on mine, and as of yet, I haven't seen my ethnicity there. I could have overlooked it, but that's one. Two, genealogically, they can't say that they're African American. In most cases, they don't even want to say they're African American. They would rather say that I'm Nigerian, I'm Jamaican, I'm Trinidadian, I'm Bahamian, I'm all these things.
None of those are ethnic descriptions.
What are you talking about?
When I say ethnic, I mean as it pertains to race. If
Are
you're
you saying that
a Jamaican, is the place that they're from. The lineage could be black. It could
Okay, what's
be,
their lineage? Like,
most Jamaicans that we are familiar with are black. When you think of Jamaica, I
so
think
you're
about a
messing up
person
though.
that's
You're
black.
messing up. You're messing up. You're messing up. See, you're not a real good FBA spokesperson.
Well,
Because
we're not talking about FBA right now. We're talking about other things. But if we
that's
want
the
to go
whole
back
point.
to
No, that's the
FBA,
whole point of the conversation. What are you talking about?
okay, well, allow me to get
Because
back
you
to my
called
point.
in, you called in, and you said I'm a proud FBA. And
Allow me to get you back to my
FBA,
point.
the ideology of FBA, they say that other people don't call themselves black. Let's get that correct first, although that's
Not all,
false.
not all, not all.
I didn't say all. I didn't never say all, but because people
But it
have their
sounds like it.
I said most, and if I didn't say most, let's clear it up and say most
You didn't
FBA.
say most.
Okay, that's okay. Let me say
And
it
you
now.
can't speak for most, and it's not fair for you to speak for most. It's not fair.
Well, from brother, I'm
It
giving
is
you
not
some
fair.
grace.
It's
I'm
not
giving
fair for you to
hold
say
on.
most.
Let me talk, because you are not a good FBA representative.
You haven't let me finish representing.
And what I'm saying is the reason why I'm saying I want to do one thing at a time, because you're moving the goalposts. What's on your license? Let's start with that.
I was just double checking as we talk, but
okay, I'm gonna give you a moment. I'm gonna give you a moment.
While I'm taking the moment, let me be a good representative of FBA to my best ability. As I was saying,
let's deal with I want to give you a moment to see if you have your ethnicity on your license. Perhaps it's something in New York State that's different than Maryland and Virginia.
I have a South Carolina license.
Oh, South Carolina. Well, maybe there's something different in South Carolina, my Harlem brother, that is different.
It's possible.
You know, you might be Geechee.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, well, you damn sure African. Okay.
And I do believe that Africa is the starting point of human existence. I explained this. I have no problem claiming my African lineage at all.
Do you believe that we came over here? Do you think the slave ships exist?
No, sir. I mean, well, not to the degree that we've been taught. It would have been impossible for them to bring that many people on boats.
Ain't Callaway.
So
but it's true.
Who's your teacher? Who's your teacher?
I learned from everyone.
No. Who's your primary FBA teacher?
Okay. I can learn from
well, give me 3 of them. Just give me 3 of them. What's your FBA teachers? Who are they?
Elijah Muhammad.
No. They
well, I'm speaking about
FBA. I'm saying they have to have identified themselves as FBA. I don't want you to make up who FBA. I'm talking about who are your leaders who call themselves foundational Black American.
I have no leaders, but I do have teachers.
Your teacher,
now,
your teacher. Pardon.
The teachers that I have and respect most definitely would be Jason Black.
Who is that?
Jason Black. He's also yes, he is.
Oh, that's the brother who never turned his camera
on. Not sure exactly about that.
Is that the brother who got the deep voice and he don't turn his camera on?
I know the name sounds familiar, but I can't answer. I don't know him.
Okay, Jason Black, brother.
That's a good description.
Okay, cool. Okay.
I would also say, with when you're waiting for Tariq Nasheed, and I would also say Afro Elite.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Why he still got Afro on his name? You need to talk to him about that. Is that more like a hairstyle?
I asked him. Issue, date of birth, expiration date, sex.
So you got your license?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. And it makes no mention of race.
Okay. Brother James Harlem.
Yes, sir.
I think that you mean well, and I'm not going to keep this live going because I think that you said quite a few things that you can't substantiate, and I'm not.
But I
I'm
never
not
got a chance to explain myself.
Okay, well, all right.
You
Let's.
never gave me
How much
pushback.
time do you need? How much time do you need?
How much time can you give me? And it wouldn't take that long. But how much time
Can we do it?
Because I don't want to hold
Can
you
we
up.
get you to say your powerful punch statement in 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's drop it.
Okay. Foundational Black America as a descriptive for those who were chattelly enslaved, those of our ancestors who were chattelly enslaved here. Also for those who may have escaped slavery, but still were here when the foundation of America was established. Those are the people that I am of the same lineage who deserve reparations from this government. I say we deserve reparations because reparations were paid to the slave masters. The people who had our people enslaved, they got money for their losses. There are people from other countries that were inflicted in some manner by America who received reparations. There's no one on this earth, definitely on this planet, who was inflicted more than, I would use the term that we used to use, African American. But there was no one on this earth that was inflicted more than foundational Black Americans. We are here when the foundation of this country was established. We were here before, but we are talking about monetary damages. So we're going to say from the foundation of this country. We need money. We need wealth. We need opportunities that we can give ourselves with the money and with the wealth. That has been scripted from us for all the years that we've been here. Be it if we got it on our own, they would take it. Anything they could do to keep us down, us in particular. I'm not talking about recent Black people who came here or recent Black people who ancestors did not go through. Ancestors who did not go through the suffering that my ancestors went through, me as a Geechee. So yes, the same way they paid all those other people's reparations, we deserve it too. But we have to delineate who gets it. And that's why foundational Black Americans are an excellent term that we can use to make sure this government, when we get our reparations, they know exactly who's going to go to, and we can substantiate that we've been here. I don't need no more time.
You did a good. I don't. Okay. You just okay. I appreciate you. You're wrong, but I do appreciate that you. I do appreciate your love, though. I do. I mean, because I really do feel it. I mean, for all intents and purposes, my lineage, I mean, when I say lineage, I ain't talking about that lineage usage that they use. I'm saying my ancestry has come through that. And I too believe that there's a repair needed. And that we're due some things if we fight for it. But at the same time, I think that there's some things there that's more you put out with that I think that is impossible to measure. One being there's no one on the earth that has been inflicted more than FBA. I don't know how you measure that. I don't know. I've heard a variety of stories in even other directions. I've heard that the worst form of slavery was in this place and that place, and it hasn't always been here. I've heard people say the worst form here was here because we lost certain levels of culture. I've heard other people say on sugar plantations that it was a worse process. I hear people talk about the Dravidians and so on and so on, the Dalit people, the untouchables and all that that's going on there. I'm just saying, like, I have no desire to be in Impressions Olympics to substantiate my claim to that Black Americans, African Americans, more specifically, have been done wrong, and that we you know, and I struggle with the thing that we are owed a thing, because I don't think an enemy owes you any damn thing. I think you have to fight for whatever you get, even if that comes in any form of reparation. We need money. I agree with that. I also think we need education. I think we need critical thinking skills. I think we need, and I agree with you that we need the things that have been stripped from us, including our culture. I would say, though, I would add that we need our culture, and especially here as foundational Black Americans, as you like to call them. I call them African Americans. You still haven't shown me any reason, any point, any idea why that term is a necessity, when it's purely genealogical. Everything you're saying is genealogical. You also said our ancestors our ancestors went through those things, and nobody else has been through those things the way that we've been through. I won't argue or debate that on this continent there has been a unique form, just like there's been unique forms everywhere. Brazil, the Caribbean, the UK, even the African continent. There has been a plethora of ways we've been oppressed. Do I think that that you need to change in the name or from African American, which clearly identifies the group of people? No, you haven't shown me any why you have to substantiate that. Your loose claims and your loose claims such as can Elon Musk is also African American, is also mythology. It's a part of FBA's mythology. I ask you to research. I ask you to go to Google. I ask you to do better. I ask you to put down Jason Black. I ask you to put down Tariq Nasheed. I asked you to put down, who's the other person you said? Afro. I haven't even looked at him enough to know, but I think he's in Hidden Colors. Is he in Hidden Colors?
Now, in no way am I a representative of those people. I am a student of them.
I appreciate
they can like it or not. They can like it or not. I feel I'm a student of them, and I appreciate them.
Well,
I'm not a representative of them.
You are a very respectful person. And I get what you're saying here. You are real about this.
Thank you.
You are a very genuine person, and I hear what you're saying. You do not want to misrepresent their ideas.
I'm speaking from I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're speaking from your interpretation of what you've learned from these people. And I can see that, and I appreciate you being respectful about them because you appreciate them. But I also understand why it's so clouded for you, because it's a very clouded construct. I understand why it's difficult for you to lay down a strong claim, because they make a lot of fallacious allegations and mistakes.
Can I speak when you finish? I'm sorry. I just
go ahead.
I'm listening.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You struggling trying to diminish what I said, and I was very clear when I said that.
I'm struggling to do what again?
Immigrant, Black person.
You said I'm struggling to do what? I want to be clear.
To minimize the things that I've said.
I'm struggling to minimize.
Right, because it's not coming across right, because I made it clear that an individual who did not have roots to this country hundreds and hundreds of years ago should not get the reparations that belongs to those who built this country. Now, I love Black people all over this earth. I do believe, and one of the main reasons I called here was because I want to ask you, because there are some people who are FBAs, even have a platform, but they want to think that Black people in America are the only Black people. That shit is, excuse my language, that's crazy to me.
That's what I'm telling you.
Crazy. That's crazy to me. And I sometimes frequent a particular show because I realized that this person is trying to brainwash a generation of young Black people who are attracted to him by saying that foundational Black Americans are the only Black people that can use the term Black, which is ridiculous. And I try to get
you're not totally indoctrinated. You one of those people who say you're a Christian, but you don't believe the Bible literally.
I'm not a Christian. I don't believe in any religion.
No, I'm using the metaphor. You like you are not a strict adherent. You are blasphemous to some.
But there's nothing to adhere to. Foundation Black Americans.
Hold on. What time did you come into this?
50 million people deep.
Did you come into this presentation? What time?
I'm not sure, but I'm fortunate to be here.
No, you're a peaceful brother, man. But look, no, I'm saying, did you come from the beginning?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay, go look back at this. I want to see you next week or something. Holla at me. Hit me up. We'll talk more. I appreciate the time. You know, I'm not struggling with articulating your points. That's a very clear FBA point that they don't believe other people are due to what happened to them on this and what they are owed here. I'm not struggling with that at all. I'm very clear on that. I just disagree with that. I disagree with the idea that one, that you're going to get it that way, and two, that your oppressor is going to liberate you, and three, that there's not something we're going to have to fight for and take out on our own, and that we need African and Caribbean and all the allies. I think that you're a bit more nuanced in your approach and perspective. You're a bit of an outlier, and you don't want to be identified strictly with some of the FBA foolishness. However, you identify with FBA because you feel like it's a good term. I think you're very clear on that. I just think that you're still unclear on what your teachers are teaching. And I appreciate you, brother. You take care.
Thank you very much.
All right. Peace and blessings.
Absolutely.
Cuz. Send us home, cuz. I got to get out of here, man. I got to get out of here. I appreciate the brother Harlem, man. I ain't going to lie. I really appreciate brother Harlem. I'm hearing you saying something about in the chat too, cuz I'm coming for you next. I don't know if I read it right. People can call themselves what they want to call themselves, whatever. Right?
No,
but
what I said was somebody in the chat said, if a person tells you I identify as FBA, and you respond to continue to call them African American, then that's disrespect. And I said, okay, I got you. I agree with that. Like I personally, I don't have a problem with anybody saying I'm FBA. You can call yourself whatever you want to. Kujichaga Leah, that's all on you. So if you tell me like male or female, we cool, we enemies, what have you. If you say my label is FBA, I'm fine. I will call you FBA. That's what I was saying in the chat. Now, that don't mean I agree with anything. Most of the people in the chat still saying FBA this and FBA that, and we got to look out for ourselves, and they want our reparations, and no, but
I appreciate it. They helping the algorithm. You know what I mean? They're fighting for the cause. They're fighting for the cause. They're fighting for their political. Look, what do you expect when you have a political identity? I want to hear how many of them. I'm going to pose the question. How many FBA in the chat before we go are also Pan-Africanists? And how many aren't? I want to hear it. How many of you all who came into this video are saying you are Pan-Africanist and FBA? If you are Pan-Africanist and an FBA, put 1 in the chat. If you are FBA and you believe Pan-Africanism is dead, put 2 in the chat. Let's see what you got. Because the title of this particular episode is Can You Be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African? I would argue anyone who thinks that you can be both is diluted. All right, come on now, y'all. Don't y'all got all these words. I want to see the ones and twos. If you are FBA and Pan-African, not that you think you can be, if you are FBA and Pan-African, put 1 in the chat. If you are FBA and believes Pan-Africanism is dead, put 2. All right. Hey, cuz, go ahead and send us home. Send us home. They ain't going to do it. They're not going to do it, cuz. Okay, JG11. JG11 don't count, man. JG11 ain't no damn Pan-Africanist. He's JG11, boy, I appreciate you. You crazy. You fight everything. JG11, I want you to mic up and camera up one day. Come up on here, man. Get out of here, man. Everything. You so smooth. I think you might be genuine too. You be trying to, hey, Dr. Asar, look, have you seen the Haitian lady? Oh, Dr. Asar, have you seen the black immigrant who saw this? You ain't never sent me nothing that is pro a Pan-African. Because what you got? Oh, somebody put RIP Tombstone Pan-Africanism. Lord's Child 1. Okay, Lord's Child. All right. So I can't take them seriously. RIP Pan-Africanism. Oh, ADOS have no friends too. Well, the numbers are looking like the lack of numbers, the little numbers we have. I won't even say it's a good sample size, but it still looks like it's leaning perhaps on the is either in the middle with the little numbers we got, or leaning towards you can't be both. Or that you're not both. Let me not say you can't be both. You're not both. His FBA lineage Pan-Africanism is FBA is a lineage, and Pan-African is ideological. So the hustle life, 12G, are you Pan-Africanists? Okay. Oh, somebody said some super chats or something, brother, cuz.
I didn't see no super chat.
I know that's what I don't see none either.
Not recently. No, you had a couple earlier.
Mr. King said, I saw someone with a $5 super sticker, whatever that is. Oh, Kevin says, call me the Pan-African Library, Dr. Dennis. Oh yeah, I like I'll give you that, Mr. K. You are the Pan-African Library, and we appreciate it. JG11, my wrench. Oh, JG11. JG11 said he won his wrench. Hey, JG11, look, JG11, you do a good job of trying to convince me that you learned something, but then you can't hold it up for long, though, man.
Yeah, he let his true colors come out
today. Did he show himself today?
Oh yeah, he went back and forth from "I'm for the people" to "Is FBA or you an enemy?"
Oh, is that what he said?
That's how he carried. I'm paraphrasing, but he been getting down and dirty.
But didn't Tariq on his website say you can only have one allegiance? Like you can't have an allegiance to the African diaspora. It has to be to FBA. Like,
yeah, I mean, that sounds like what he said.
I mean, I guess you don't have to be a leader, but but that right there still doesn't add up, because you can't be a leader in FBA. See, typically leaders should be able to be Pan-Africanists, but you're saying that anyone in leadership position can't be Pan-Africanist. You can only have a single, what you call, allegiance. I'm still looking for other super chats. Did he write? Did I miss something? Mr. K? Because y'all got a lot of comments in here, and I don't see any more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So, oh my God. All right. I don't think I see no more. But hey, cuz, is he responding? Cuz I'm looking and
No,
oh
I
my
didn't see
God.
anything. I didn't see
Okay.
anything.
So all right. So I think we probably hit his super chat. Maybe he made a mistake and put an S on there. Or maybe I just overlooked it. Okay, so in closing, family, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to let the dear Baba, what's the other super chat you put in there, Kevin, brother Kevin, before you go? Just rewrite it. And I trust that it was a super chat. And I don't have a problem putting up. Well, anyway, hold up. I appreciate the super chat. Yeah, do the super chats. Yeah. Can you rewrite it, brother Kevin? Okay, if he doesn't write it, I'm gonna close out. Closing words if you got any.
No, go ahead. Like, my closing words might not even be positive.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you can do it in 10 seconds, I don't care if it's negative or positive.
Look, just here's the thing. Nobody is against. Well, I'm not against anybody fighting for reparations. I've always been down for reparations. I am against what I say is the wrong, the ignorant, the stupid, the weak, the whack way that most of the FBA advocates are going about getting it. Most of the FBA advocates are not working on securing it. Most of the people who are doing the work are African Americans who identify as African Americans. But that doesn't mean you still can't identify as an FBA. That's your new term. That's your label. That's what gets your juices going. Then go for it. But if the idea is that we as Black people in America, even if it's consolidated to just those of us who descend from the plantations and etc., if there is the idea that we need to be in cohesion and in solidarity, even amongst ourselves, then they got to figure out how to remove the vitriolic, xenophobic zeitgeist from their own lips. That has nothing to do with whether or not we include Ghanaian Americans, Nigerian Americans, Jamaican Americans, and so on and so forth. They can't build nothing positive as long as they keep twisting the truth, spewing false narratives, and exuding vitriolic hate. I'll land there.
I appreciate it, dear brother. You dropped that one. I mean, I'm not even gonna say anything else but thank you, family. Brother Professor Shabazz dropped it, and I'm gonna let the elder restate it, and I'm gonna say, and we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna just let the elder come in.
I'll start from this premise. I do believe that some of them are confused, but I don't think their leadership is confused. I think their leadership are collaborators. They are enemies of our people. They are conservatives and right-wingers. There's three problems we got with ADOS and foundational Black Americans. The first is they're xenophobic. So they can't take a Pan-Africanism because they're against other Black folk at a foundational level. Second, they're promoting integration. They manipulate symbols of nationalism, but their goal is to integrate into capitalist America. They don't even want to transform it. They want to integrate into it. And third, they support global financialized racial capital. In the words of our brother who passed recently, D'Angelo, they want a piece of the devil's pie.
I say they definitely do.
When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back.
If a generalized Black woman is doing this and being this, that is that is irresponsible.
No,
when you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind
showing
back.
me,
Black and proud. Claim your Africanness, black and
I
proud.
think that if
when you claim your
as a
Africanness, you're going to
person
get your
who
mind
has
back.
a page,
What is the status of people
Claim your
who have
black and proud. I'm
FBA?
telling you. When you claim your Africanness, you're going to get your mind back.
That's why I was laughing because I am
Claim your Africanness, black
I'm not saying the framework doesn't do a thing, but
become a part of it.
We've been
Embrace
forward to Black men
Become a
being the
part of it.
masters, being
Embrace
in
it.
the control. We must
Become a
have
part
our
of
own
it.
One of the
become a
best
part
stories I've
of
ever
it.
heard.
Embrace it. When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind
that
back.
mental growth takes
Black
place.
and
You've
proud.
been
Claim
misled
you're
by
African.
leadership,
Black
for
and
instance,
proud.
that thinking you can consume.
When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back. Black and proud. Claim you're African. Black and proud. I'm telling you,